Access TV Channel 5, late night TV. This is called Builder Talk, brought to you by Fred Hophead. And I just want to let you guys know that it's a very, very awesome privilege to talk with a person I consider a good friend of mine, Filbert Farmer. I actually I downloaded one of his builds before I even knew him. And of course, you guys know in Anvil we've got a lot of great builders. And tonight we're going to talk about his builds, talk about where he kind of started, and really, after this crazy lead in, we're going to just be basically shooting the shit. So, um, anyways, here we go. We are going to run over here. Let me ask you one question, Filbert. The
Yes,
first
sir.
question I try to ask every. When did you get started in Empyrion?
Middle of June
Middle of June.
of of 2020.
Okay, so you've been at it for what, 10
Since
months?
something like that, yeah, since Alpha
Okay.
12.
Okay. So you would consider yourself a newer builder,
Oh, yeah,
wouldn't you?
definitely, definitely. I
Okay.
mean, I have had kind of an unhealthy amount of time that I've been able to
Mhm.
put into it.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I kind of used it as my cancer recovery. So after my cancer treatment,
Really?
I was getting better and I needed something I could do to
Well,
kind of
congratulations.
get out of bed. So yeah, thanks. So
Yeah.
this is what I did for like 8 hours a day, like it was my job, 7 days a
Yeah.
week for a
Yeah.
month and a half. So yeah,
And also, you are a farmer.
I am.
So
I
during
am.
your off season, it's kind of your off time. So
Yeah,
that's definitely a time to build and wait out the winter and wait. I mean, farming it's year round. You're either planting shit, fixing shit, or getting ready to plant shit, or getting ready to fix shit. It's
that's my
hard work.
life right there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Well, who were some of the builders that you kind of reflected on and took builds apart and just kind of.
So the first two, obviously, that everyone mentioned. Well, the first one that everyone mentions is Jay Randall. Um, he does an
Of
awesome job of
course.
building, texturing the whole 9 yards, everything, every aspect of it. So I looked at a lot of his stuff. I used a lot of his stuff. But the other one that I don't think gets as much attention is Solustacor.
Yeah.
He does a lot of the pirate stuff, especially the
Yep.
in-game pirate ships. Those are all his, or most of them are his.
Stan
Um,
Stan mentioned him too.
he's one of my favorite builders. I love his
Stylisticor.
style.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to hear Stylisticor and uh, Jay Randall from a lot of builders. So you guys out
Yeah.
there, you guys check out. You guys are already checking out Jay Randall's Stylisticor. I don't know how to spell it. Spell that for me, Filbert. Can you spell it? Can. Uh huh.
Sulsdo. Wait,
Uh huh.
Dacor, something like that. Solustacor. Spell it like it sounds. I mean, it's you spell it phonetically. So
Stylisticor. Okay.
yeah.
Wonder. I always wonder where everybody's freaking names come from.
Well, and it's
I wonder what that
seriously. I mean,
name is.
what's funny with me? So I'm literally a filbert farmer. So I
Right.
clearly I put creativity into my builds, but not so much into my name.
Right. Right.
Um, but what's funny is that yeah, when I started out, those were the two that I focused on. But then as I've gone along, whenever I get to a different build, if I'm kind of bringing up a new challenge or a new type of style,
Hmm.
I'll find a new builder to kind of look at their stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll see that kind of as we go along, the different influences in my reforged stuff.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And let's see. So we've talked a little bit about when you got started. You're
Yeah,
relatively a newer builder on the scene, about 10 months from June 2020. You
yep.
kick cancer in the ass. Congratulations again.
Thanks, sir.
Solisticor, Jay Randall, big inspirations. All right. Okay.
And I know some people have started in Reforged just from right out the get go.
Mm-hmm.
I started in vanilla, and I
Mm-hmm.
played in vanilla for like if you added up my total build time, which is embarrassingly large,
Mm-hmm.
half of my play and build time is in vanilla, and the other half is in Reforged.
Right.
Um, so very much familiar with both.
Now, in
Anymore,
your
I don't really
defense,
build in vanilla now. I just do Reforged now.
in your defense though, creative your creative time probably has a lot to do with having some problems with internet where you live too.
Yeah,
Right?
so though I never even started multiplayer stuff until like
Uh-huh.
late November. That's when I
Right.
joined the Anvil server.
Hmm.
And I was kind of just like not sure if it would even work, and so I was just kind of experimenting, and it worked. So I've been kind of
Right.
going with it. I can't do a lot of things on the server, like I can't get into big battles with lots of people. I just get disconnected, but
Hmm.
I can
Hmm.
do my own kind of mundane stuff, and I'm in a faction, and so I'm
Right.
getting kind of the experience, but there's some stuff I have to avoid.
Well, everybody out there that works in the telecom industry, please hook up Filbert Farmer with some good internet. Please. We need him on the we need him in the multiplay experience, damn it. So run
Well,
some
I've
fiber
had
optic to his
once or
ass.
twice when I've been working on a build, I've actually had different people tell me that they're going to take me off the whitelist, so I'll finish a build that they want. So I can't play multiplayer. I have to build stuff.
Man, that's
Um, they're
okay.
just joking, but yeah.
Good. Well, that's good.
So
That's good.
yeah.
All right. So, what build do you want to talk about first? Do you have your first build out to look at, or what's
Well,
the
I
first?
was I was debating whether to bring this in, but since we're talking about influences and stuff, I'm
Please.
gonna go ahead and spawn an extra one here.
That's fine. That's fine.
This is my most popular build that I've ever done.
Mhm.
It's the first one that took off on the workshop.
Mhm.
It's the Kestrel Corsair.
Okay.
This is very much inspired by Solusticor's Corvus Corvette. It has basically
Ah.
the same cockpit front.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And when I build, at least I used to when I built stuff, I would pick an area of the ship and then
Mhm.
build that and then build a ship around it. So it used to
Mhm.
be I like to fly, especially in vanilla, in first person,
It's
like
fun.
almost
Mhm.
exclusively.
Yeah.
And so the cockpit was always the first thing I would build, the window shaping and everything, because I wanted that
Right.
first person cockpit view to look cool.
Mhm.
So that's what this one, that was kind of the inspiration. I love the Corvus first person cockpit view.
Mhm.
So I built a ship that was kind of more like a bird of prey kind of thing,
Yeah.
a little Star Trekky. Um, and then just kind of gave it the pirate look. This is
Mhm.
still pretty early. I mean, I made
Mhm.
this thing, I think, in late July, early August. So this is still
Mhm.
pretty early. Still learning stuff, but
Now,
a lot of
didn't
fun,
this
a
one
lot of
hit
fun
the
to
front
build.
page?
Yeah, so this one
It did.
was front page and everything for a while, and
Right.
it's
That's
still
big
like I said,
shit. That's big
it's had
shit.
my
You made
highest
something that
number of
hit the front page.
subscribers,
Yeah. That's
highest number
amazing.
of everything. I mean,
Oh
even
yeah.
after all the other stuff I've made, this is still the number one
My
for whatever
buddy,
reason.
my buddy Grumpy man loved his man. He was really right now we're shopping for heavy combat
Mm,
stuff, but this
yes.
really worked well for him. He really enjoyed it.
Well, he was probably using my most recent. I made a redo of it for
Did you?
Reforged,
Did you? Okay.
and
Okay.
that's over here. We can get to that in a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of some of the styling and stuff on this. It's all very, you know,
The
Bird of
lighting's
Prey
really nice.
meets Salute Decor. This is yeah, and this is still pretty early on. I still didn't
Yeah.
know about the different settings and lighting and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, heck, I'm still learning stuff every time I go in here and
Oh
build something.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But I was still pretty busy with the texturing and
Mhm.
all that. But
Mhm. So this was a vanilla build.
yes, this is
Yeah. Right on.
definitely a vanilla build.
Yeah.
Um, I
The
really like the
thrusters.
bridge on it. I've made other ships that use this very similar bridge.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, just because I love the way it turned out. The rest of the ship's okay, but
Well, I want to just do a little walk through it, just to
yeah.
take a little. Just
And so this would have been Alpha 12, I think would have been the
okay.
version that this was built for. And then it was released the day that version 1.0 dropped.
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
I suspect is partly why it got so popular, because it happened to be new on the workshop the day the thing went live.
Right.
So I just got lucky.
Well, that's a you know when your shit hits the first page that quick, that you know you've got a real good knack for what you're doing, you know.
Yeah, it was
So
pretty neat. I didn't
yeah,
expect it.
got some deep stained wood floors going on here. Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
and again, this is all Salus decor. I mean, the light on the floor, the weird,
Right, right,
the glowies, the wood texturing, all of that came from the Corvus. I just
right.
added my own kind of spin on it, but very, very heavily inspired by him.
Right on, right on. Very cool.
And when I was playing in vanilla at the time, I was always playing solo single player,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd use the economy to buy food and stuff, so I didn't really have a lot of point to putting a farm on something. So this
Right,
thing doesn't have a farm.
right, right.
And I think my original intent, it's been a while since I built this, but was to make an upgradable combat CV. So this is a tier 3 vanilla
Mm-hmm.
CPU that
Mm-hmm.
you can upgrade to tier 4.
Ah, okay. All right.
And there's place in the ceiling to add RCS.
Right on, right on.
So it's all kind of like laid out for you.
Right,
More
right.
weapon places and that kind of stuff. But it works pretty well.
And cryogenics to go into suspended animation. There you
Yeah,
go.
just
Yeah,
more of the RP stuff. And I mean, I think you'll
yeah.
find that when you look at a lot of my stuff, I put some of the other RP crap in there that maybe you don't really need or some people don't like.
That's
But
where you keep your frozen clones.
that's
See?
right.
Yeah, I mean you I need about 300 of those in my ship right now.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I need about
That means you got
300
guts, man. You rush
clone
in.
freezer.
No fear. That's
That's
that's the way to
right.
be.
That's right. Yeah. Clone
Little
freezers. Yum.
pentaxid room at the bottom.
Oh, you got a pentaxid room in the bottom?
Yeah, just where
Oh, the
looks like you got
pentaxid.
with the
Right.
pipes going, like it's
Gotcha.
making it look like they're
Yeah,
going
it's
to
like
the warp
vanilla
drive.
don't have pentaxid plants, and you didn't say garden, so it's the
Right,
pentaxid tank. Gotcha. And the
right,
pentaxid colored tubes. Very cool.
right.
Right on.
And I got my little production engineering area
Oh yeah.
with the little vent hood for the work table and
Oh yeah, that's
warp
cool.
drive.
And
I
you've got the
started doing
grate.
that on a
Yeah.
lot of my stuff at
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of, because if the ship's kind of mirrored, I build a lot of stuff with symmetry.
Uh huh.
Um, and so you've got port and starboard generator rooms.
Mhm.
Um, and on these, there's the door control, which is separate, and then you have a shut off, and the shut
Uh huh.
off also changes the lights. So you get that red light
Oh, dude,
when the
change that again. I want to see. You hit the switch so I can.
so
Oh
now
yeah.
they're on,
Uh huh.
now they're
And
off.
now
The
they're.
lights
Oh,
change.
yeah, that's very cool, dude.
I
Very
honestly,
cool.
it was just something I did because I was like, that looks kind of neat. There's really no practical
Yeah.
reason for it. Like, there's no reason for you to ever go in here, but yeah, why not? It looks
No,
cool.
that is very cool though. That's yeah, because the lights would come on when turn red when they turn off. That's yeah.
Right. Sort of
And
like
you've
let you
done
know
it on
it's
the other
an
side.
emergency.
You've
Yeah,
got that
same
over
thing.
here. Okay.
Starboard.
All right. Cool.
But yeah, so this was the first big successful thing I made that kind of took off, and
Man, it looks
was
good.
pretty happy with it.
Right
It was
on.
fun. I used it a lot in my single player playthroughs just for fun.
Right. Right. Very cool.
And the upgraded version, and granted, this is vanilla, so it's not like it's any big thing, but it
Right.
handles itself pretty well. I mean, I took out some decent stuff with it and
Mhm. Mhm.
flying around and goofing off, so definitely a fun build to make and then to use.
Now, when you played vanilla, were you playing single player mostly?
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
playing. So yeah, all of my vanilla stuff that was all single player,
Okay.
and I wasn't even playing Project Eden. I didn't even know about Project Eden. I was just
Mhm.
playing the regular vanilla game.
Right. Right.
Um, and I played that for like an embarrassingly long amount of time before I found all the other cool stuff you could do.
Right.
Um, but I had a good
It's
time. I
very
enjoyed it.
nice.
I mean, people sometimes are kind of harsh on vanilla, but I enjoy the
Eh,
heck out of it. I think it's fun.
listen, the only thing that got me about vanilla is once I got that tier 4 extender, it just got I was just mowing down
Oh,
bad
absolutely.
guys. I'm just
And
mowing them down. I'm just like, ah, da, 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 ah, da,
and
da,
as
and they're
much
just like
as
derp
as
derp. Yeah.
and as much as I enjoyed vanilla, now that I've played Reforged, I can't go back. Like for just
No,
playing for
no.
fun, I'm not going back.
Ah,
But I can
yeah.
still make stuff for it occasionally, if I need to. But yeah, for just fun, it's Reforged. I'm too used to
Mhm.
changes now.
Mhm. All right.
So yeah, and I think I made some more stuff in vanilla after that, but
Uh
it
huh.
was all over the place and not that great. And then I found Reforged, and then this one to the left here,
Yes.
this was my first Reforged
Yes.
purpose-built CV. Because Reforged, you kind of build things that are role specific. In vanilla,
Yes.
it's all multi-role, but so this was my first attempt at a role specific combat CV. In
And I want to
vanilla,
say one thing.
yes, sir.
When I downloaded this blueprint when I was playing this a solo game, and I was
Hmm.
like, look how small this CV is. Number one, and number two, when I flew it, I was like, holy shit! Is this thing maneuverable? This was the very first ship that I got into that was a CV that I was just like, holy shit! I couldn't even imagine that a CV would do this. It was just
And
crazy.
this is one that it's another one. So like when I build stuff, I build it because it's like, yeah, I got a cool idea. I kind of want to fly that, and so I'll make it,
Right.
and then I go use it.
Hmm.
And I've only got, I think, one ship I've ever made where I didn't use it, and that was my mech challenge build for
Hmm.
January because it's just too impractical.
Right. Right.
That was really just for fun build.
Right.
But this one was a lot of fun. It was just kind of goofing off, and the idea was that you had matched forward and reverse thrust,
Hmm.
um, and a ton of fixed weapons. So you would kind of rush in and drop
Hmm.
their shields and fire a volley, and then kind of rush back out. And it worked
Hmm.
well, and it was fine, but very, very poorly armored.
I see.
Um, I was still very, very much early in my reforged
Uh
building,
huh. Uh huh.
so very much a shield fight type of thing. If your
Hmm.
shields go down, you're screwed in this thing,
Right.
unfortunately.
Hit and
But
run. You better get the
yeah,
shield down and get a
very much
couple and then
pirate
leave. Yeah.
marauder. There's no hanger, there's no grow plots,
Right.
there's very little on it.
Right.
Um, but again, this is still going back to vanilla where I was used to the first person cockpit.
Hmm.
So I built it around the first person cockpit, and this one actually was inspired by one by Vermilion.
Hmm.
I kind of figured it's his mod. Let's look at some of the stuff he's made and get some inspiration. And one of the in-game POIs, the illegal mining operation,
Hmm.
it's a base and it has a kind of a mock CV
Hmm.
docked with an asteroid. And so I took the mock CV he made. That was my inspiration for this ship.
Hmm.
And I have reused both the cockpit design and kind of the overall general shape of this thing in lots of different ships.
Right.
Um, I have a number of other ships that are back behind that all have the same cockpit.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and then I have a whole line of ships that I use that from starters all the way up to one that's even beefier than this that all
Right.
use the same basic shape. So
Right.
I really love the shape of this thing, and it's been kind of fun to build different variants of it,
Well,
different
that's
sized engines and stuff.
you mentioned Vermilion, but I raise hell about Vermilion. I mean, every player does when they get their ass ground up by his POIs, but Vermilion's builds are absolutely badass.
Oh, it's
It's
I mean, he's
the,
another one
the
that
yeah.
because people I think are always cursing him because they're getting killed by him.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't take the time
No,
to kind of
no.
step back and appreciate
Yeah,
what he's put into the
yeah,
creation of these things. I mean, he's an incredibly talented designer and
yeah.
builder, which is really cool.
People ask me why I'd go through all these POIs that you're not really finding good loot and you need to get out there and hunt drones and I'm like, have you seen these cool Xerax POIs and all these things? And there are a lot of those things out there are Vermilion builds. And whenever I see Vermilion's name, I'm like, yes, you can tell, it's just so. Anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
No, no, not at all.
I just wanted to point out that Vermilion, look up his stuff too because it's really fantastic. But anyways, back to you, bro. Sorry. But yes, so
Yeah.
your windows.
Yeah, so I built it kind of again based on the cockpit. I loved the
Mhm.
cockpit. I changed it a bit from what he had on his, but that was
Mhm.
very much where the inspiration, and then the overall shape was very
Mhm.
similar to what he came up with.
Right.
I just kind of did my own spin on it.
Mhm.
And like I said, I've got all different versions of it. The one that I've actually used on the server last season was like 2 blocks wider,
Mhm.
and it had a hangar in the back. It had a
Mhm.
little farm in it. Like it was more of a multi-role, versatile kind of a ship. It still had all
Mhm.
the combat function, but
Mhm.
it could be used for other things.
Right. Right.
Um, and then I used a smaller version of it as my starter last season.
Gotcha.
So lots of different versions of it. Love it,
Mhm. Mhm.
and reused a lot of the design elements in a lot of my other builds.
Right. Right.
Um, and actually, if you come back here, you can
Uh
see the
huh.
little mini SV version of it,
Oh
which is
yeah.
the Outland Smuggler.
Gotcha.
And believe it or not, so I know that now you can take a CV and you can copy and paste it onto an SV starter block,
Yep.
and you can just automatically shrink it. This one was built before I knew you could do that. So this one was scratch built to
Yep.
just look like the Orion. But
Right.
this is the one that I used as my starter SV in season 2.
Ah.
Um,
Okay.
this is what got me going on the Dread Dead Planet start.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And it's the whole idea. This one, so it's not super powerful thrust wise, but it
Uh
has
huh.
a massive cargo bay. It's got like an 11,000 volume cargo bay,
Oh,
which is pretty big for a
nice.
starter SV.
Yeah.
And so the thought was that you could park it on a POI or something and
Mhm.
link to that cargo bay and salvage stuff into the hang or into the cargo, and then
Mhm.
put it right into the factory, and then that would get you your CV faster.
Right. Right.
That was kind of the idea, because I've had people kind of ask me like, "Wait a minute, when I load this thing full of cargo, it barely moves." And I said, "Well, yeah, that's you're not meant to just carry it full of cargo. It was
Right.
built for a specific role, and
Well,
it works for that."
if anybody expects you to throw your limit of armored concrete in a 320K container or a 32K container, and you tell the builder, like, hey, bro, I just filled up the 32 container with armored concrete and this piece of shit don't fly. What up? No, you're basically showing your slip. If yeah, you pull the dress down because yeah, nobody fills up these containers. It depends on what you put in it, right? So
Right.
yeah, exactly. Nice.
And again, some RP stuff. I mean, there's like the little step ladder there to like a bed or something, and
Right.
you got these shutter doors that open. You can remove the 2 container extensions
Uh
and
huh.
throw in CPU extenders if you want to upgrade the thrusters or the weapons or whatever. Add a shield.
And you're not going to lose a lot of container space with just four.
No,
What are they?
no.
125 each, right?
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. And I
Yeah.
actually have a tier 2 version of this. It's not in the workshop, but normally when I
Mhm.
build something,
Mhm.
I put out either the most useful, what I think is the most useful, or the most upgradable, whatever,
Yeah.
and then I'll make another version or two for myself. So I normally have variants of all of these ships that I use for myself.
Right.
So I'm rarely
Right.
using the one that's actually on the workshop. I'm normally using one that I've customized to fit my specific use.
Right on.
But this one I did use as is for the playthrough.
The
So
texturing's
yeah,
really
just to
good.
kind of show you the difference, the SV to
Yeah.
the CV, what it looks like.
Right on. Right on. All right. What would you like to
So
show next?
after I did the Star Killer, I got into the Anvil challenges and I did the
Mhm.
Claymore.
Uh huh.
And I've used Claymore quite a bit.
Mhm.
Um, it was
Oh
my
yeah.
attempt at making a tank.
Right on.
I kind of wanted to make, because that was a challenge, was just combat CB. And so to me, I just
Mhm.
thought, well, that's like an HV tank in space.
Yeah.
Um, so I made something that kind of looked a bit like to me, a ballistic missile submarine,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in space, and that could act kind of like a tank. I
Right.
even added these little caps here, like the missile launching caps on a submarine,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
on the
Yeah.
nose.
Yeah.
And then I put the artillery in the back because it's your heavy weapon, and then you put
Mm-hmm.
your anti-shield stuff on the front because once the shields dropped, it used to be that they would stay dropped. So if
Right.
you lose those weapons, it's fine because your artillery's working on them. Um, I have since found out that this thing has a pretty critical flaw. I haven't armored the fuel well enough, so I need to.
Uh-huh.
If I know that there are still some people using it, even in season two,
Could you
and
show
what they
us
do
that?
is,
Would you be willing to tour us to
oh,
where if somebody's using it right now, it
yeah.
would be
So
really awesome that we
basically,
could show
this
them
middle thruster here on the bottom, your middle lift thruster.
this one right here I'm
Um,
looking at. I'm flying next to it.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
if this one goes,
Mm-hmm.
which again, in all my testing, I never lost that thruster.
Right.
Um, but I
I'm
had
gonna
two other people
pull out.
tell me that they did.
Right.
And if that goes, especially with the new chaining, it will trigger the fuel tanks,
Okay.
which will you'll be dead in the water.
Right on.
Because I put all the fuel tanks in one spot, thinking I could armor them better if they were all in one spot. But
Mm-hmm.
I've since kind of changed my thinking. Normally, the fix that people do is they remove all the fuel and oxygen from here. They
Mm-hmm.
separate them out. They lower the overall tank size because you don't
Right.
really need as much fuel capacity as I put in it, and then they just armor them individually. And then if you
Uh-huh.
do that, then you're set.
Okay.
And really, all you need to do is remove these ones that are sideways, and then put the extra armor around it, and it should be pretty solid. I mean, if you just kind
Okay.
of space them out and armor them individually. I've been meaning to do that, but I keep getting caught onto other projects, so I haven't had a
Well,
chance to update the
right.
blueprint.
Right. So
But I
so
know that there are still
basically
people that use the Claymore, so I
right.
want to update it at some point.
So the second engine back,
Yeah.
basically there's some fuel tanks that are touching it that they need to separate
Well,
those
they're not
out.
touching it. They're
But
touching a
okay.
container extension that then
Oh,
touches the
okay.
fuel tank. So
Okay.
it'll chain through through the container to the fuel tank.
Let me see if
So
I can God mode. Let's God mode and just X-ray through this shit. Shall we? Let's take a look.
I've also had a lot of people remove the gravity generator and replace it with
Mhm.
armor plate because a lot of people don't like gravity. So that's a
That's a
common thing
terrible
that if you
thing.
re-
Who would who would dis who would hate
if you
what?
if you remove it, that gives you a lot more space to play with too. So
Right,
that's a smart
right.
thing to do if you're using it pure combat,
All
which is
right.
what it is. I mean, it's a combat ship.
I am looking
Um,
at this engine, okay? And let's see,
where are you at?
enclave. I think I'm
Oh
looking at
yeah.
the right one.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but if you look behind it, these are container extensions between it and the fuel tank.
Hold on just a second here. Oh, the blank spot here.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotcha. Got okay. So,
yeah.
guys,
We're in a container right now, so that's the
this is
problem.
yeah, we are floating in invisible containers. So, if you guys are flying a Claymore and you have an issue, if you want to play around, you
So
guys,
these two
yeah,
tanks that we're looking
yeah,
at right here, if you just
yeah,
get rid of these two on each side, you don't need them, and
yeah.
replace that with combat steel blocks or Xeno steel or whatever you like, that should be enough to protect it from the chaining. Um,
If I
so
may,
it's a simple fix if you got it,
if I
but
may,
yeah, exactly.
boom.
And then you
If I
just throw
may
some
be
armor
so,
in there, and you'll be just fine.
and you put some right here. All right, guys.
And
So yeah.
the only other thing is that again, this is built. I believe this is a 1.2 build,
Mhm.
so lag shot was still
Yeah.
very much a thing. And
Yep.
from what I can tell, lag shot's not entirely necessary anymore.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think so
I think it's
either.
almost better to have solid blocks now because of
Yeah.
the way the new explosions work. So that might be
It's
another
more
thing to
hit
consider.
points. It's more hit points.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it's more hit points. It might be better to, if you
Be
are using this
solid
thing,
now.
to make some modifications. And I know that was one of the coolest experiences I've had. Was I had 3 or 4 builders. Grumpy Old Dan was one.
Mhm.
Rogar is one, and there's a couple others that had made their own versions of the Claymore, and they sent them to me. And I brought them all into my creative one time, and I took a picture of them for them and put it on the Discord. But it was really cool to go through them and see what changes they had made.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I am very much an RP builder. I don't, I'm not trying to min max things, and I'm not trying to be the best or whatever. I'm just doing my
Right.
thing.
Right.
And it's always cool to look at what people do with my stuff because it helps me to be better for the next one because I can see like, oh, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that? And so I
Mhm.
incorporate it into the next one, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'd loved that. That was so cool to see everybody else's kind of visions of what they wanted to do with the Claymore. So very cool.
If I
And
may
if you look
ask one more thing about the sideways thruster, you had
yes, sir.
talked about the update. I just wanted to go in and see kind of what the side thruster, what was the issue with it. I just wanted to point it out. Anybody that has it, I'm just looking.
Oh yeah, I mean if it were to go, if you were to get that knocked out,
Uh
I
huh.
mean you're probably fighting a little too much into a
Uh
battle.
huh. Uh huh.
Um, because again, like that's pretty far back on the ship to be taking it out.
So you didn't hear any reports on the side thrusters. You were just bringing that
No,
up as a okay, because
and
that's a lot of
the
hit
side thrusters
points.
have a lot of hit points, so I was less
Yeah,
concerned about
yeah.
those. But these other ones don't have so
Uh huh.
much
Uh
in the way
huh.
of hit points. They're only 6,000, so those
Gotcha.
can get hit, and they're
Gotcha.
farther forward.
Uh huh.
And some people were tanking these things really hard, like they were. The whole
Yes.
front half of the ship was getting blown off, and they were still fighting. So,
Yeah.
you get into some heavy combat, that chaining thing will be a problem.
Right.
Um, I figured basically everything up to the first thruster in here,
Uh huh.
um, you could just lose
Lose.
the entire front of the ship and it would still be fine.
So up to here, okay.
Pretty
This
much.
this is the line to stop.
Right, right. They
Go
start getting
go
into your
fix.
missile
Yeah.
launchers up top there,
Yeah.
your little deco things. That's when you know
Yeah.
that's kind of the gauge.
When you
Like
get to this
it's oh crap
first thing,
time. We need to get out of
yeah.
here.
The pencil has been sharpened enough to this point right here.
Pretty much,
Right
pretty
past
much.
the claymore. Okay. All right.
And then you can see if you look at the back,
Yeah.
this is very much the same type of engine setup that I had on the Orion.
Right,
So
right.
that's where I got that from, and I've reused that on other builds as well.
Mhm.
I kind of like that cowl. It looks kind of like flaps or something that
Yeah.
is part of the engine, but yeah. So that was kind of my combat CV, and that spawned a kind of a series, and that was the first time I'd done a series of builds.
I want to go
But I
in here.
did,
Is that okay? I don't want
yeah.
to
Go for
waste.
it. Go
I
for it.
don't know how much time you have, so I don't want to. I don't
I
want to.
got as much time as you want, Fred.
Okay. I just want to give
I'm not in a
everybody.
hurry.
I remember Darkus had one. I remember being in it, but he locked all the doors. You know how paranoid he is. He rushed me through and then checked my pockets when I was done. It was. uh,
I'm surprised he didn't give you a dermal burn.
I know. The
And this is
thing is,
also the
he
first.
stopped giving me dermal burns because I started liking it. You know, well, that.
This is also the first ship I made that did not have a first person cockpit.
Uh huh. Uh
Um,
huh.
so that
It's a
was kind of
battleship.
new to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So I figured that's what everyone else did on their battleship. So I thought, okay,
Mhm.
well I should say that. So no, yeah, that's right. That's the first one I made that didn't have a first because I've made another ship before this that had both.
Mhm.
It had a battle bridge and a first person bridge.
Right. Right.
Um, this is the first one that only had the combat bridge.
Right. And it's kind of a shame.
Right. I mean, I
First
love
person
flying first
shooting, I
person.
know, I know. Being able to see the battle up front, which is why I think using a CV to attack turrets and stuff on land POIs is so addictive. When I'm sitting in the front of my CV, and all my guns are blasting, and I've got a big windshield, it's really cool looking. You
Hmm.
really get immersed at that point. So, third person attacks is just an ugly thing that
Right.
it's gotta be, but damn it, it ought not be. There should be like, wouldn't it be cool if you could have your combat, but yet somehow the game did it to where it would project a armored camera from the front, so you could
Right.
kind of sit down and I don't know, but
That would be nice.
yeah, the first person view, that's that's tough to let go of, but it's safe back here. Definitely safe. All right, man.
And then I mean, I know that again, this is where I differ from some builders.
Hmm.
Again, with the RP side of stuff, I like having stuff exposed. Um, One of the biggest disappointments that I had originally in 1.4 with the crazy chaining was, to me, the coolest blocks we have as builders to play with are stuff like the warp drive and the
Hmm.
generators and the
Oh
stuff that
yeah.
have all the cool detail. And
Yeah.
it's like, I want to feature that. I want to have, like, the centerpiece of this hangar is the warp drive because it looks
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
And then I've got
Yeah.
the exposed generators through the heavy glass that you can see stuff's
Hmm.
moving. It looks
Hmm.
kind of neat.
Yeah.
And so it'd be a huge bummer to me if they, that I thought that I wasn't going to be able to show that stuff anymore.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I know that it's probably not smart to always have that stuff kind of out and about, but I'm still going to keep
Right.
doing that because I think it looks great.
Well, it's you're trying to maintain kind of a balance between function and form,
Right.
at
And
the
that's
same
kind
time,
of, I mean, you asked before, like what's your builder philosophy or whatever.
Hmm.
And if I had to like pick one, I would say that's probably what mine is.
Hmm.
I try to make that balance between looks and functionality.
And you're not, and at this point, and I think from this point forward, you like exposed thrusters, but you are not a dummy turret guy.
Yeah, I've never put
Never
decoys
been.
in
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll get like if you look at the just one second here, I'm trying to
Hmm.
clean up our stuff
Oh
behind us.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I can help you with that afterwards, or yeah, it's all good.
well, I wanted
We
to
know it's early
potentially
for
bring in
you.
something
Oh,
else,
okay.
so
Well,
I didn't want it to get too cluttered.
no, but dude, people are spawning everywhere. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
All
And the
right.
thing is,
Um,
it'll get destroyed anyways. So.
so if you look at the front of this thing, where I
Mhm.
mentioned before, I had the pulse turrets in there for they've taken out the shields, so they're kind of
Mhm.
like they're used early, and then once the enemy shield's down, as long as you're staying in range to fight them, you don't
Right.
really need the pulse turrets as much. That
Right.
would be as close to a decoy as I've gotten, at least
Sure.
to this point.
Right.
Um, they're fully exposed, they're fully functional, and to me, like again, I don't care. People want to build whatever they want to build. That's fine. Like
Mhm.
it's PVE. Do whatever you want, man.
Mhm.
Um, it's just for me. I like if I'm gonna put something there, I want it to have more than one purpose. I don't want its purpose to just be getting shot.
Right.
So
Right.
with these, they're there. They're there to draw fire, but they're also there to drop the shields. So they have
Right.
kind of a dual role.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I've done other things like that where I try to kind of protect them, but they're on the nose because I know that they're going to get shot first, and so I put the
Mhm.
better stuff at the back, like the artillery, to protect it.
What is the biggest thing you've taken with the claymore?
Oh, I've taken a battle carrier with it.
Battle carrier. Okay.
I know that not. It was actually so I sold my demo claymore, the one that I put on the server initially to test it.
Mhm.
I kept it with me for a long time, and I sold it to Debon,
Mhm.
and he and a group of other people from his faction took it and some other ships up against the corrupted dreadnought in season one.
Wow.
And a good chunk of the claymore got blown up, but it did survive the fight. So it has
Nice.
gone up in a group and taken on a corrupted dread. I know that.
But in a
I
multiplayer
I
server, that's how you hunt stuff. Is that's
exactly. That's
it's
supposed to be
with
group
with
encounters.
friends, right?
But for
It's
me
friends getting
solo, it
together.
was the battle carrier was the
Mhm.
thing. I think
Okay.
that's as big as I got with this.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, so that I was pretty pleased with how it turned out, and like I said, I it spawned kind of a line of ships in that I built the quick strike,
Uh huh.
which
Now
is this
where's
one here. I just spawned it in
Oh,
to the
okay.
right of the Claymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. It's an aircraft
So
carrier.
it's a Claymore that's like an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
So and this thing actually I combat tested as well, even though it's more of a carrier.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
took out frigates, corvettes, and a couple of space stations in season 1 with it.
Okay.
And it has enough lift that even with all the cargo full, the hangar full of HVs and SVs, the what do you call this? The flight deck
Yeah.
still had enough payload to carry a Claymore on top of it. So
Ah, I
you can
see.
still make warp. And actually, at one point, I had a Claymore on top and I had a
Mm-hmm.
Kestrel on the bottom, and it was still able to get up to enough speed to warp.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked pretty well for its size as a carrier. Um, so I was pretty happy with it. I like the look of it. Um,
Wow. Is this on the workshop too?
yes, this is on the
Okay.
workshop.
Okay.
I
I
built
gotta
another
get in
little
this
ship
hangar.
that
This
goes
is
with
nice.
it called the Ridgeback, which is like a little lander CV.
Uh-huh.
Um, and the idea was that you would
Oh,
get into
wow.
orbit around a planet
Uh-huh.
and then take out whatever you were going to take out in orbit with your combat CV, park
Right.
this thing, and then use the lander to ferry your HV tank down to the planet and then fight on the planet with this in orbit. That was kind of the
Nice.
idea. Um, and then I put this ramp in here, same thing. So because I'm one of those weirdos who likes gravity and space,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you can take your HVs from down here in the hangar, drive them up this ramp,
Mm-hmm.
and out into the flight deck where you can load them onto another ship to take them down to the planet or whatever. So this is basically supposed to be like a mobile base.
Right. Right.
It's got a deconstructor, a couple of constructors. It's got a farm in it, a repair bay, all that stuff.
I
Lots of
love the
cargo.
crane. I love the crane.
Yeah, just little
That's
details and
nice.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And I've
That's
done
good
that since
deco
on one
there,
or two
man.
other things. I put in a crane
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And this one has some crew blocks too that it uses just to
Yeah.
get it under CPU.
Right on. Right
And then
on.
there's 2 spots up top if you want to throw quantum or auxiliary cores in to add other functions.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, this is the giant SVHV hangar. Um, there's a little
Oh,
engineering
that's
room.
nice. That's nice, man.
Again, the warp core is exposed because I like looking at it.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I'm just gonna. Okay, all right. Med station. Hey, yeah. I think I've got a couple
Got a
of those
doctor,
guys. Yeah, I know that guy.
and then you go up to the farm.
Yeah.
This is like the main living floor.
Right.
Those are your bathrooms here, and then this is the captain's quarters.
Right.
Which is another thing on my bigger ships I've started adding is the little captain's quarters because it's kind of a neat spot. I heard from one other person, he's like, I like to go into the captain's quarters to log off.
Oh yeah,
So it's like,
man.
yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of neat.
Yeah.
So I've started doing that in my bigger stuff. I put a little captain's thing in there.
Oh, and it looks good. The looking at the warp. That's nice. Yeah. That's great.
And
This room is nice, dude. It's very well done.
yeah, you got your little spot
Dude.
for quantums or
Yep.
auxiliaries or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
I forget how many grow plots this is. It's some odd number. It's like 27 or something.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and then if you look up, we got our bridge
Oh yeah.
with our faux holographic map
Yep.
of a
Yep.
planet.
That's cool.
So that was kind of neat. I was playing, just
Oh,
starting at this point
that's
to get into some
nice.
different LCD
Yeah.
work.
Man, the ring. I don't know how you did that fucking ring, but holy
It's
shit.
literally there's a symbol for a circle, and you just make the circle really big and give it a
Really?
transparency, a slight transparency, and that's all it took.
Oh man, that's
And that's
great,
the
dude.
only Xeno on the whole ship is this globe because I liked that texture because it kind of
Yeah.
looks like a strange temperate planet.
Yeah, it
So
does.
that's
Yeah.
what I went with.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
That's
so that was
really
my carrier.
cool.
I lived out of this on season 1 for a long time, just
Nice.
roaming around.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
awesome,
so
man.
then I started getting into more of the, kind of development of like, okay, I've used the Claymore, I've used
Uh
the Quick
huh.
Strike, I like
Right.
them. What can I improve?
Right.
And
Right.
the one thing that always bugged me on the Claymore, and it's kind of a nitpicky thing, but it's a bit sluggish to
Mm-hmm.
like maneuver in
Uh
space.
huh. Uh huh.
When you're in combat, it can roll and it can tank and it works great. But when you're just flying around in it, it's a bit annoying because you have to constantly be like adjusting your mouse wheel to do
Mm-hmm.
warps and stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
then I came up with the Scar Kestrel,
Aha.
which is my next combat ship, and it was built to kind of build on what I had learned from the Claymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to build a new version of the Kestrel because I loved that body shape.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted it to work in Reforged. And after I got the basic body shape down, I thought, man, I've always liked the Scar stuff that people have made. And this was, I think Jay Randall started it, but other people have built their own
Mm-hmm.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Script and Darth and all these different people. And so I was like, well, why don't I make it a Scar Kestrel? Give it that
Mm-hmm.
kind of look and feel and texturing and stuff. And this was both really fun and really challenging at the same time to get to make it like to purposefully make it look modge podged and like you know welded together, and I mean to make it look like it's made out of junk basically,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but still have it look like purposeful.
Right. Right.
So it was a big task to get it, but I think I got the kind of the essence of the Scar stuff down by the time I finished it.
Right.
um I'm pretty happy with it, and then performance wise it maneuvered better than the Claymore,
Uh-huh.
and it
Uh-huh.
had both a first person and a third person bridge. So the two things that I missed
Right.
on the Claymore, I brought back, and I really enjoyed this one. And I know that um, Darkest, this is what he used as his starter combat CB this season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool because we're in a faction, so I got to see it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, this thing's definitely gonna go somewhere with these engines. These
Yeah,
thrusters, yeah.
it moves pretty well. It's reasonably agile. It's upgradable.
Yeah.
It also adds in some of the multi-role function back. So I put a little farm in it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's got a constructor and a hangar and all the other stuff.
Right.
Um, so I'm getting at this point, I'm starting to get down kind of the magic mix of stuff you can throw into a build to make it work
Yeah, yeah.
within the basic CPU limits.
Well,
Um,
if you're
I
not an emergency ration snob, I mean, you can get by with very. You don't have to have a 48,000 plot garden in
right,
your
right.
ship.
But this is another one where this is very much I brought in Darth Zapod's Ravager, I think it is,
Hmm.
his massive vanilla Scar build that he did, which is just
Yeah.
amazing.
Hmm.
And
He's watching
Jay
us right now,
Randall,
I think. Yeah.
and then Jay Randall did the Cerberus and one other the Nemesis, I think, which is now
Hmm.
I think in the game as an OPV. Um, but those were my two models, and I brought those in to get the texturing and the look. So a lot of this, like the detailing around the constructor, that's right off of Darth's ship. The way that he did his, like I
Hmm.
thought that looked so good. So I tried my best to kind of copy it. Um, and then the texturing and stuff is all pretty
Right.
much Scar. I think I got it.
Darth, you're out there, bro. You're listening. I wanna interview you, man. I'd love to see your
He's
stuff. I'd
so
love
that's
to hear it.
when I originally said, so I started J
Hmm.
Randall's Loose Core and then Vermilion for the other one. So that's what I
Hmm.
mean. As I go along to these different builds, I'm looking at other builders and looking at what they're doing, and it's like, oh man, that's awesome. I love that. How can I kind of put my
Hmm.
spin on that?
Hmm.
So this was very much inspired by a lot of Darth's
Yeah.
work that he put
Yeah.
into his Scar stuff. Because I
Yeah.
also looked at his Scar tank, and I forget what that one's called, but
Uh-huh.
he has a really cool Scar tank, and so that was another texturing inspiration
Right.
to make
Right.
this one look right.
Well, I
Um,
love this texture. I love this
yeah,
texture.
it's
This
very
gray
industrial, very
industrial.
rough,
It looks
and
like
that's my
old
style. I
girders.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one for the high sci-fi Star Trek look. I'm more of the
Right.
Firefly, Star Wars kind of stuff.
Exactly. It's
That's
kind
more
of
my
beat up
speed.
and scrubby. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's scuffed a
So
little.
little crew quarters here. Um, just
Nice.
trying to
Yeah.
follow the Scar look as much as I
Yeah.
can. Still got some functional stuff there. One neat thing on this, if you go up, so this is the like medical stuff in
Medical.
here,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
again, after the quick strike, I now have crew quarters or
Right.
captain's quarters. So this is the
Right.
captain's room,
Right on.
place to go log out.
Yeah.
Little bathroom, little fridge, just
Yeah.
typical
Yeah.
stuff. But Scar, um, and this ship is a teensy bit confusing the way it's laid out, just to make it all fit.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, the way that it's set up,
Uh-huh.
there's on that elevator, the doors that you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Behind them, if you stand there for just a second,
Right here.
there are
Oh
blast
yeah.
doors.
Okay.
So the entire ship seals off right there. And that's
Right.
the end of the neck if you're looking at it from space.
Yes. Yes.
And
Here.
so
There's
from the
there's
neck
the neck.
forward
Uh-huh.
is expendable. So
Right.
those
Right.
blast doors seal
Okay.
everything off, create a layer of
Right.
armor, so the entire head can get blown off
So
and the rest of the
sharpen the
ship is unharmed.
pencil. Sharpen the pencil
Exactly.
from here
Right.
to right here, and then stop, and
Yeah,
then go
exactly.
repair.
Exactly. Right. And
Okay.
actually, you can go even further back. You can
Uh-huh.
go all the way back to, I think, right here and
Oh.
still not be hurt if you're in the combat bridge. So I mean, it
Okay.
can take a beating and still keep
Right.
kicking. But the blast doors I thought were just kind of a neat little feat. I don't know how
Yeah.
much they
No.
actually do,
They're
but
like
I thought it was kind of a
2,000.
neat little
They're
touch.
like a glass. It's like a heavy glass that you can
Right.
move out of the way. So yeah. So I'm
But
just gonna
yeah,
look
just
at the
little.
plots.
So
See what the
everything kind of
plots.
in the head. If there's an armor locker and a cargo box, I think, in the head and neck area,
Mm-hmm.
and I labeled them with an extra
Expendable.
little label
Yeah.
for, yeah, I think I put head or something on them or bow,
Yeah.
or I don't know what it was, but just so you would know, don't put stuff in here if you're going to be
Right.
tanking,
Right. Right.
because you're going to lose it.
That's right.
And then a little bridge. And again, I try to add some stuff. So like there's a motion sensor here
Mm-hmm.
on the ceiling, so you could add a teleporter right there.
Oh
And it's
yeah. Okay.
already
Yeah.
signal logicked in or whatever. So to make it upgradable, there's this big pipe right here behind the captain's thing. I thought that'd be a cool spot for an RCS if you wanted to throw that in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just trying to kind of think ahead, like, okay, they're gonna get quantums with this ship. It'll take out infectors and decimators. So
Yeah.
where are they gonna put the quantums? How are they gonna upgrade it? Um, I've had people complain a little bit jokingly that
Mm-hmm.
because I did the scarness to the outside, they had a hard time finding places to put turrets on it. Because the top of it is a half block tall, so you can't
Oh
mount turrets on
yeah.
this spine.
Yeah.
And I know Chumsicle was kind of lamenting that, so he had to kind of modify his so he could put more turrets on top. But I
Well,
did put a
you just
spot or
explain
two.
that away. You just explain that away. Say, start spinning blocks, dude. You know?
Well, and
If
I mean,
yeah.
that's the other side of when I build something.
Yeah.
So I do try to think a little bit about what's going to be the upgrade path.
Right.
But then the other side of that is I know full well just about everybody who brings in something of mine is going to put it in creative and customize it to suit their needs.
Replace
Because I'm
blocks,
more of an
Xeno.
RP kind of a builder, like, they're like,
Right.
that looks neat. Let me
Right.
tailor it to my needs. And that's
Right.
awesome. And so
Right.
I'm also kind of cognizant of that. So I go a little further on some of this stuff and be like, well, yeah, I'll just go ahead and make that look cool. And if they want to change it, they can change it.
Have you seen any
So
Xeno
that's
versions of this?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
Basically, every ship I've made,
It's been
I
Xenoed.
can send it to Rogar.
Uh-huh.
In there used to be UTM. I don't know what their clan is now. Their faction on Anvil, but
Mm-hmm.
he'll he'll convert it to Xeno, and then he'll send me back the Xeno version. So I have a Xeno version of most of my stuff,
He
and
Xenoed
I
my
can't.
wife for me. So yeah,
Nice, nice.
I sent my
Yeah,
wife to him. He Xenoed her, and now I have a Xeno wife. So yeah,
combat ready.
she shit. If she wasn't before, she is now.
um, Yeah, so that's kind of neat, and I've played around with those a little bit. He's much
Right.
better at texturing
Uh-huh.
stuff than I get too frustrated when I'm trying to texture something that looks a certain way to Xeno and still
Mm-hmm.
make it look good. I made his new Claymore.
Right.
That was my only time I've ever tried that, and the performance-wise, it's far better,
Yeah.
but it looks terrible, and I hate it, so I never used it.
Okay.
I'd rather use the one that's slower and clunkier just because to me it looks cooler, and that's half this game or more is I want to fly around a spaceship and pretend to be Han Solo or whatever. It's like
Right.
that's the way you're gonna do. So
Yeah.
you want something to look cool.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so that was that's the Kestrel. It was
Cool.
my combat
Oh yeah.
upgrade from the Claymore.
Yep.
Um, and my only
Oh.
scar thing I've made. And then
Right.
the only thing that happened here, so this one got used quite a bit on the server in
Uh-huh.
season one. Darkest and I took a pair of them through the progenitor gate and
Mm-hmm.
used them on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we explored over there, and that's when I kind of started to notice the shortcomings of the Kestrel.
Uh-huh.
It's terrible for planet hopping.
Okay.
Um, when you land on a planet, there's no quick way to get on and off the ship on a planet.
Right.
So that was one thing that was super annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I was annoyed by is that it doesn't have any mining functions. And I know it's a purely combat CB, but
Mm-hmm.
I started to miss the multi-role vanilla functions that I had grown used to way
Yeah.
back when
Yeah.
on my ships. And so I took that knowledge and used it to make the hoplite.
Okay.
Now I made
Oh.
a bigger ship called the Agamemnon, which is a quantum battleship. It uses I think
Mm-hmm.
8 quantums to spawn it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got room for 6 more to upgrade it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I built that one first, and then I went back and made a line of ships based off of that design.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the sort of Estral equivalent combat ship, the hoplite.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
and this one combines some different tactics as well. So where the Claymore and the Kestrel were built around artillery, because that's
Mm-hmm.
my play style. I like the big heavy guns and I like to punch
Right.
holes and stuff.
Right.
Um, this was after talking to some other guys and getting some other ideas. A lot of people are using missiles.
Mm-hmm.
So this is sort of a missile boat. It's designed to use heavy rockets.
Mm-hmm.
It has I think 6 heavy rocket launchers and
Mm-hmm.
5 fixed pulse cannons for taking out shields. Um,
And so
it has
since you put more love into the missiles, I noticed they're a little farther back. They're
yes,
you got
a
more
little bit
back
further
here.
back. I mean, they're kind of
Yeah.
all around. And this one
Right.
again, the other thing I was always improving on is agility. So it's I think the smallest of the three, although
Mm-hmm.
they're similar in weight. This one I think is a bit lighter, and it is as a result the most agile of the three.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it moves very well, performs really well. It has I think 3 mining lasers,
Oh
3 or 4
wow.
in the
Okay.
front, so you can
Uh-huh.
actually mine with it.
Right.
A
Right.
little opportunity mining,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is nice. It has lots of surfaces because that's the other thing I've started to get comments on because I stuff like the Kestrel has a lot of block shaping that's not conducive to turret placement. So I've had
Mm-hmm.
people kind of asking me, Chumpsicle, um, whenever you build something, can you
Mm-hmm.
think of where am I going to put my turrets? Because
Right.
people like to throw a billion turrets on stuff, which I mean is nuts, but I get
Yeah.
it. Like you kind of need that. So this was my answer to that. I tried to start to think like, okay, there's some extra surfaces here and there and wherever to
Right.
throw
Flat
turrets.
spots for activities. Yes. Plenty of
Yeah, and again,
three
people are
by
going to
three
customize it.
square spot.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So there's spots on the bottom and there's
Mm-hmm.
spots, wherever, so people can kind of customize it. And then again, this one has that same kind of multi-role function. It's got a little hangar. It's
Mm-hmm.
got a constructor deconstructor right
Mm-hmm.
out of the gate, which is nice. It has a little
Oh
15
yeah.
grow plot farm,
Nice.
full med bay, combat bridge, and a flight bridge. I don't remember what it's got for storage. I don't know. I
Bathroom.
So 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has 3, full 320 cargo systems
Wow.
plus a 320 ammo.
Nice.
And one of those cargo systems is a harvest controller so that you can throw a salvage turret on it once you get the CPU to upgrade it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kill something and then salvage it.
Well,
Or at least
you're
that was the
my
idea.
hero just because of this. Okay?
What?
Because you have this many grow plots. And I know there's somebody out there that's like, but that grow light can do 3 more plots. I'm going back shit. Symmetry. You know? I mean,
I've
there's
done it.
somebody out there going to
I've done
lose
it once or
sleep over that
twice.
shit. My hat's
I've done
off
it
to you
once or
for that.
twice.
Yeah.
I almost made it worse. I almost removed the center row just to have a walking path, and so it would have only had
No.
12. But
People would have gone
I was like,
batshit. What is
I was like
this?
that's a little too mean. I'll go ahead and
Yeah,
add the
don't.
extra 3.
There
It'll be
you go.
fine.
Yeah.
You can
Well,
just walk through your farm to get to the
that's
medical
that's
stuff.
and just let
Um,
them lament over these 3 over here, and just give them that gift of sleeplessness.
right.
Good for
So
you.
this is your little med bay, kind of
Right.
standard. And this again, so just like I did with the Claymore,
Hmm.
this one was a part of a series. So I had kind of a texture palette and a color palette
Right.
and everything set, and the shaping and everything that I carried through on all these different ships. There's the Hoplite, there's the Agamemnon, which is the quantum battleship.
Hmm.
I built the Atreus, which is a light carrier. Um, and then the other one, which we'll look at in a minute, which I actually spawned in.
Hmm.
Um, so as you go back, there's a living quarters up top,
Hmm. Oh,
little
back up to the top,
kitchen.
very top. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
up
Oh,
up
there
the
we go.
elevator,
Ah, here we
and then
are.
there you've got your little living quarters, and then you go back further, and there's your combat bridge. And this is the
Oh,
first
yeah.
one. Well, I guess the Agamemnon was really the first one I started to get a little more into my LCD work, do
Right.
custom LCDs. Um,
Oh,
so on the
yeah.
combat bridge,
Oh,
where'd you go?
nice. I'm
Oh, you're
looking
up
at the.
top. Okay.
Is
Flight
this the
bridge. So
same?
yeah, so this is basically the same style bridge that's on the Agamemnon. It's got that same
Okay,
block with the glowies in the middle.
that's
Kind of
nice.
looks like a railing.
Right, right. But I went too far for
Um,
the combat bridge. Uh, okay,
yeah,
there
the
we go.
combat bridge is down there.
Okay, there we go.
And then this one has the windows to the hangar,
Hmm.
and it's got the LCDs on the windows. And what I did here is I tied some of the functions to LCD. So if we turn on a constructor, it activates an LCD so you know it's on.
Constructor active.
Um,
Nice.
harvest mode on, so you know your lasers are out.
Oh,
So
that's
just to give you a
cool.
heads up before you go into battle, and I think I put one for the deconstructor. It's on a manual switch, but if you left it on,
I see it. I
you'll have an
see.
LCD
Yeah.
tell
Yeah, I
you.
see it. That's
And that
cool.
came from Darkest because we were talking on the server one day. We were going to fight stuff, and he mentioned that, well, I always end up leaving my stuff on. I always have my constructor on
Right,
accident or
right,
whatever. And so I was like, oh, well, if I put warnings on the battle bridge, you'll know if you left it on because
right,
there's a warning. So that's kind of where that came from. And then I made this little LCD to kind of look like it was like a targeting screen or something. I don't know,
right,
just to
right.
give it a little more look. And then the only other thing on this ship that's kind of neat is there's a, as always, captain's quarters,
Oh,
which
captain's quarters.
up into the back. Captain's suite.
Where the magic happens.
That's right. So this is the
Oh, yeah.
captain's suite.
Nice.
Little captain's log action there.
Nice.
Just making stuff up.
Yeah, yeah,
Adds to the RP a little bit.
yeah.
Um, this room again is there's like zero function to it. It just I thought it looked kind of neat. So
Right, right,
cool spot to come log off. You got some windows that are again totally unnecessary. Probably not safe on a combat ship, but
right.
whatever. It's fun. You get a view. So yeah, so
Yeah,
that's the hoplite.
that's cool,
But
man.
another ship I made in the line of the hoplite is the Sura.
I just want to read this one about the alcohol rations. That's
Oh,
you really yeah, you really need to not do that. Yeah, and gambling, let them gamble. Okay. The money's going to stay on the ship. It's just going back
That's
and forth in pockets. It doesn't really.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right. Captain needs to lighten up a little bit.
we've been tracking one of these discs. Make from their variation. Find their home world. Nice. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, talking about like the legacy stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we got these ships in back here.
Yeah. Yeah. What's next?
Um, so I actually started all the way out over here with the little SV,
Yep.
the Novera.
Uh huh.
So that was the first thing I built in the series after the Agamemnon,
Mhm.
and it was meant to sit. Well, I keep talking about this ship. I might as well just bring the thing in here. This is the Agamemnon.
Uh huh.
If it'll spawn.
Oh, it might take a sec.
There. So that's the Agamemnon. That's, I think, the biggest
Ah.
CV I've made.
Oh,
I
the
tend to
Aggie.
build small.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know a couple
I have
people using
flown
it.
in this. Darkest has given me rides in this when I had some
And
problems. So yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
This is
it's a little bit light on weapons
uh
stock,
huh.
but it has lots of mount points, so you can
Right.
load this thing down. And I know that at least in season one, Chumsicle was with his loaded out. This is what he was
Hmm.
using to hunt dreadnoughts.
Oh yeah.
I didn't do that. I'm not a dreadnought hunter. That's just not
Dude,
my thing. But
Chumsicle is the freaking king of damn dreadnought killing, is he
oh man,
not? He
he that's
goes
his bread and butter.
nuts. He goes nuts on those things.
He loves fighting them. It's just he loves that CV combat, man.
You know
That's what he's
what?
about.
You know what? I would love to just talk to Chumskull. He lives in my neck of the woods practically. I mean, I could
I
probably
know.
throw a rock to his house and go away. I'm fighting dreads. Go fuck, get away from me. I'm killing dreads. Shut up. you know?
Heck, I'm in his faction. I would like to talk to Chumsicle.
Yeah,
He's never
yeah.
really on
He's
voice,
just like,
so
no, go
someday I would
away.
like to meet Chumsicle.
Yeah, he's
Um,
like, I don't have a mic. I don't have a mic. Nah,
right.
I'm too busy fighting dreads. Can't go out and get a mic. Yeah, he is a dread killing
See,
machine, man.
yeah. So he loves the combat. He's really good
Yeah.
at it. Doesn't really make a big deal about it, which is cool. I
Nah.
mean, that's just his thing. He
Oh
just goes and
yeah.
does it.
Yeah.
And he's very open with sharing the loot, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
He comes back,
I
and the whole
imagine
faction
so.
benefits from his exploits. So,
I'm sure he's killed a buttload this season.
oh yeah,
I just
he's
wish I
been
could
doing a
talk
lot
to
of
him.
the legacy stuff this season.
Has he? Cool.
I think he's kind of determined that that's a bit more profitable in with the
Ah.
1.4 stuff going on,
Okay. Okay.
the explodies and stuff.
Well, he would know.
Um,
He's a battle expert. That's for sure.
it's his thing. I
Yeah.
build stuff, and he tests the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so this is the landing pad that I was talking about, where I built this little SV to park on the landing pad,
Up on top. Up
and
on the back.
up on top. Yeah,
Hmm.
it'll fit in the hangar too, but
Right.
I built it to park on the top, and I actually didn't end up liking it.
Uh huh. Uh
I
huh.
never posted it to the workshop. I shared it with the Discord.
Hmm.
So if you're on the Anvil Discord, you can get it from there.
The SV.
Um,
You did. You turned out you
the
weren't
the
really.
SV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Agamemnon. That thing turned
Right.
out great, and I've
Right.
used it a bunch. This was my final mobile base on season one.
What turned
Um,
you off about the Novera, or what was just
so
you
the
didn't use it
performance of it,
enough, or okay,
um,
performance.
it moves well enough, but
Mhm.
it's close to redline sometimes on the generators.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Once you load up a bunch of turrets and weapons on it, and they're all firing, then you're even closer to redlining when you're maneuvering.
Oh. Okay.
Um, it had some issues with not having quite enough thrust,
Mhm.
and I don't like a lot of the way that they've set up in Reforged the SV mechanics. A lot of the
Yeah.
for the size of the engines, I don't feel like they have enough thrust.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree with
so
that.
I was a bit bummed out by that. I mean, I
Yeah.
like the way it looked, but
Yeah.
functionally, I didn't care for it. I know that people have told me that what they do is they'll park the Novera on the back, they'll
Mhm.
kill stuff with the Aggie or disable it,
Yeah.
Then they'll get in the Novera and use the Novera to shoot the core out
Now
once
it's
it's
got rail
disabled.
guns, right? It's probably got rails, or what's it,
Yeah, the front of
plasma?
it has some
Yeah, okay.
plasma
Plasma
cannons.
can
Um,
those will do it. Yes, they will.
yeah, there's
Okay.
6 slots up front plus the
Mhm.
4 on each side in the pods.
Right, right.
Um, but I didn't like it as an SV, but
Uh-huh.
I did like it as a CB. So that's where the Sura came from,
Uh-oh.
which is
Here we
what's
are.
next to it.
Transition time, sports fans. All right. Oh,
So right next to
wow.
it.
Okay,
So this is
yeah.
the same ship, but as a CV, and I
Ah,
love this. Of all the ships I used in season one, this one I had the most fun playing with.
really?
It's quick, it's light, it's small,
Uh-huh.
it's loaded with heavy rocket launchers. This is after
I
talking to a bunch
saw
of the
that.
people. This was my test rig before I built the hoplite,
Mm-hmm.
where I was testing what heavy rockets could do because I had
Right,
kind of just ignored them and kind of dismissed them, and
right,
everybody else was like, "No, you got to try them. They're the best." And so this was how I tested them, was with this
right,
thing,
right.
and I had a blast. I loved it, and it's got that same
All those rocket
first
launchers?
person,
Wow. That's,
yeah,
yeah, man.
and it's got that same first person style bridge that the Orion Starkiller did from
Yeah.
back when I started
Oh, yeah.
Reforged.
Yeah.
And it's a similar style in that you've got the engine pod, so it kind of looks like an SV, but
Uh-huh.
it's a CV.
Now,
Just
now,
tons of fun.
now, one of the things for folks that are building brand new, I mean, I'm a new builder too. I'm not real good, but pay attention to Filbert staying on themes of things that he likes, the windows. You know, it's okay to reproduce what you like in your build.
Yeah,
Not every
and
build has to
go
be,
beyond that.
this
I
has to
mean,
be an octopus and this has to be a giraffe, and
right.
you can evolve your builds. So I just
And
wanted to throw that out. Yeah.
no, absolutely. And to add to that, go beyond that. Don't just
Yeah.
stick to what you've created. A lot of the design, so that bridge, that came from a ship from Vermilion. It's not an exact copy, but it's very close to what he had on. That's where it was. That's where the idea came from.
Hmm.
The Kestrel, that came from Solusticor's bridge. I mean, like, look at other people's stuff to get inspiration as well. I mean, a lot of people, and I
Hmm.
do this too, you get concept art, concept pics of stuff from the internet,
Oh yeah.
and that's where your ideas for building a ship comes from. But you can just as well look at other people's builds in the game to get some inspiration as well.
And it's not against the law to spin
No,
blocks the same somebody else has and put in your build. Don't
right.
don't be compelled to be like, I'm just dude, there's only so many ways we can put these blocks together, guys. Okay?
That's right. And
There's
if you
limited
really are
number.
concerned about it, just throw them add a boy in your description if you
Yeah, put
post it.
it in
Just
your
be like,
description.
hey, I was
Yep.
inspired by this and that, or whatever it is. I mean, and most people are pretty cool about it.
Yeah.
People want to take my stuff and do whatever to it. That's awesome. Go for it. Like I just think that's cool.
A lot of folks like to get nods in other people's builds. It shows there's an evolution going, you know. So,
And then this one has a little. There's like a permanent chunk of ramp that leads to an extendable ramp at the back, so you can get in and out of it.
man, I
Um,
tell you, these curved stairs drive me batshit. I don't. I
you were not the only one who's told me that.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's would
That's
be my only.
I
I've used them.
I
Don't
brought
get me
this I
wrong.
brought this to our faction in season
Yeah.
one, and Darkest had just done a rant on how much he hated the curved stairs, and I just had to do it. And so that's why it's there. It's to
Trigger.
trigger Darkest Warrior. That's why it was
Darkest
there.
trigger. Nice. Good.
He's gonna dermal
Indeed.
burn me. He's gonna get to look at curved stairs. That's what I'm
That's
telling you.
okay.
Um, yeah. So, and this one is I believe, yeah, this is the workshop version. So I
Uh-huh.
downgraded it quite a bit from what
Uh-huh.
I had.
Hmm.
Regular warp.
Right.
There's no teleporter, so
Right.
it's downgraded from what I actually used on the server.
Right.
And it's fun. I took out, believe it or not, I killed most of the stuff. So a lot of guys will trap stuff in an asteroid field and it'll get stuck, and then they'll just sit there and kind of shoot at it while it's immobile, and that
Yeah.
works really well. It's kind of cheesy, but whatever. I
Eh.
mean, it works. And
In them or on
this
them.
thing, I had tons of fun. I was actually disappointed whenever something would get stuck on an asteroid because it was so maneuverable and so fun to just fly in and out of asteroids as the other
Right.
ships were kind of like passing through.
Right. Right.
That's how I did most of my fighting with this. I was hoping they wouldn't get stuck because I loved moving around so much, like because it was so
Yeah.
maneuverable.
Yeah.
So this was a really fun. That's what I mean. I said I had like so much fun flying it, and I took out Legacy with it. I took out a battle carrier with it. I
Oh,
mean,
nice.
it performed really well, and it was just a blast to use. But I put
Yeah.
in the description that it was very much like experimental. Like I don't even know what it's capable of. It was just fun to kind of goof around with it.
Right. Right.
And now, if
Uh
the
huh.
one next to it,
Uh huh.
this is the same ship but updated for
Ah.
1.4.
Uh huh.
And this is what I've been playing around with in the server currently.
Ah.
And I'm having just as much fun.
Uh huh.
This one has a lot more weapons.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot more set up. I got rid of some of the heavy rockets. I put pulse cannons, pulse turrets up
Mm-hmm.
front in the nose,
Mm-hmm.
um, where the heavy rockets were.
Right.
I still kept 4 of the heavy rockets. I added a pair of artillery cannons to the belly for shooting out the core for like the kill shot on stuff.
Uh huh.
Because I personally I like artillery. I get the appeal of the rockets; they're fun, but
Right.
I'm an artillery guy. Um, I like punching big holes and stuff if I'm going to do it.
Right.
And then it's got plasma and pulse lasers, mostly with some missiles. And the idea there was this was what I came up with in light of the CPU bug that was
Uh huh.
plaguing the server, plaguing the game in 1.4.
Uh huh.
I figured this ship is agile. I downgraded the hull to regular steel so it'd be lighter.
Right.
I removed a lot of the Xenu lag shot and replaced it with solid Xenu for
Mm-hmm.
better hit points.
Right.
Um, and the idea was that most of my weapons are for targeting shields,
Mm-hmm.
and it's super agile. So you could avoid fire, and then you
Right.
could take the enemy shields down and start damaging them. Because if your shields got below a certain point, you risked losing your ship to the CPU bug. And so I thought, well, I've got to fight somehow because I want to keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll shield fight everything, and this is what I've been using for it. And I've just had fun flying with it because it's again a really agile CV that's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of fun to goof around in.
Ah. I'm just doing an X-ray view here.
And all of this purple glowy stuff is Xeno. So
Yeah.
all of the
Oh
core of
yeah.
this
All
is
that's good
Xeno.
stuff is clean. Yeah. It's
So I
protected.
don't have any Xeno. I don't think anywhere where you can see it, except for
You
maybe at
still
the very
got some
front.
lag. You still got just in case. I don't blame you.
Yeah,
One
there's a little
one
bit here
level
and
of
there.
lag. No, that's yeah.
Um,
You never
and it
know,
works really
man.
well. And on some level, I kind of got to a point where I was like, well, because of the CPU bug, if I take a hit, there's a chance it could just kill me because of the bug.
Right.
So I don't need to worry as much about using something that's heavily armored because I'm operating under the idea that if I get hit at all, I'm dead. So that's where I kind of like I went with something that was lighter and less heavily armed and
Mm-hmm.
armored.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, and I had a ton of fun. It was a blast to use. It has been a blast to use.
And
Um,
you're using this currently.
yeah, this is one of my current ships that I have in my little set, and I modified some stuff. I made some tweaks. I added an extra cargo container for pentaxid and
Right.
cut the oxygen supply in half, and I mean
Right.
just some different tweaks. Um, and then added a lot more weapons and stuff.
Right
And
on.
this one is on the Discord in the Blade Collective channel. So if you're
Ah, for Anvil people.
Anvil Blade
Yep.
Collective, you can
Yep.
download that one. Like I said, it's got enough CPU left to upgrade 4 or 5 of the turrets to the new
To
heavy
the new
tier 2
heavy
turrets.
kits. Yes.
And it
Good.
has the generator to handle it. The one I
Nice.
have has, I think, 8 or 10 of its turrets are all heavies, and I still haven't had to add any generators. Um, I did put a quantum in it, but I looked at my CPU. I actually didn't need a quantum, so
Hmm.
it's
Wow.
got a lot of upgrade room still.
Right. Right.
Um, and then, so I don't know how much time. I don't want to
Dude,
talk your ear off
dude.
here, but
Whoa, whoa, whoa! This is your time, Big Daddy.
okay. So
Yeah,
I
you
got,
go
I
for
think,
it.
2 more other ones I want to show. So this is
Uh huh.
my starter I made for season 2. the Sangrenel Raider.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
So this was
CV
trying
starter.
to cut the cost down, but still make it look cool, and kind of going with the pirate theme.
Yeah.
Um, I've always liked the pirate stuff. That's kind of one of my favorites.
I'm a big fan of the pirates. Everybody wants to go kill them and do casino shit. I love pirates
Oh,
because they're
it's
better than,
everything I can do to
yeah,
keep Chum from killing pirates,
they're
man.
better than
It's a struggle.
ninjas. Listen,
It's
if
a
there's a
struggle.
ninja faction that comes on, we'll kill the shit out of ninjas. I'm cool with that. But leave the pirates alone, man. Yeah.
So yeah,
Kill
just
some
trying to use the
pirates.
deco to make it look like struts and
Right.
pistons and just kind of making it look alive and
Yeah.
just kind of it's got that kind of like pod racer look to it, and that you've got the
Right.
engines up front and little hanger in the back where you can stick an
Mm-hmm.
auger or a harvester or something that you know so you get that extra little bit of function. It's got an advanced constructor. Um,
Yeah.
no grow plots. It's a bit too small for grow plots.
Right.
It has a
Right.
warp.
Yeah.
The area where the shield is up front, it has a tier 0 shield to keep the
Yeah.
unlock level down,
That's
but it's a
great.
big enough cavity that you can remove the extra blocks in there and put a regular sized shield generator in it.
Oh, so you can upgrade. That's good.
And
That's
it
good.
has the CPU out of the box to do that. So once you get it and you get to level 15, you can remove the basic shield and you can throw a tier 1 shield in it, which is nice.
Oh no, I
Because
didn't know
actually, I
that.
built this thing before he made that
Oh,
change.
right,
So
right.
it was used to be level 12, I think, unlock for tier 1 shield, and so that's what it had. So I
Mm-hmm,
had to
mm-hmm.
change it when he dropped the update.
Right, right.
Um, Little dining area off to the side up there, and
Oh,
that's, I mean, not a whole lot to it. It's a pretty small little ship, but
yeah. I mean,
tons
it's
of
a
fun to
starter.
make and lots
Yeah.
of fun to fly around in it, and good amount of storage and everything. And it was kind of cool because I saw a lot of them on the server in season 2, and that was kind of neat to always hear people talking about them and what
Mm-hmm,
they liked and
mm-hmm.
what they didn't like. And it's that stuff's helpful, man. I mean, people tell me like, hey, yeah, change this, or I just did this to it and it did better, and I'm just like, that's awesome. Like, anytime somebody
Yeah.
wants to tell me that stuff, like show me what they did,
Right,
I'm all
right.
for it, because then that makes me better. That helps me to do it better the next time,
Mm-hmm. It's funny,
which is always
when you
cool.
start building builds and people are obviously responding well to your stuff. I mean, the subscriptions speak for themselves. They want to help you get better, and that's pretty damn supportive. They want to think,
Right.
well, this is
And this is a
this, and
pretty
yeah,
great community for that. I mean,
yeah,
everybody here is pretty awesome in that
yeah.
regard. Um, and then for texturing, I basically copied the color palette of the Quinn Marak, which is Decor's pirate CV that's in the
Mhm,
game.
mhm.
So that's where the kind of the colors and theme of the
Right,
textures came from.
right, right.
Um, and then from that, I built
Uh oh.
this. If it'll spawn here.
Is this the? Is this the? Is this the? This is the.
No.
Oh yeah! Here we go, guys. Here we go.
So this
Here's
is
the boy.
the Valrune. This is my
Here's the boy
current
right
mobile
here.
base. That's the Pirate CV I'm working on. I've
Oh, this
actually
is
started
lovely. Lovely,
really
dude.
enjoying this thing.
Oh,
I
man.
probably one of the biggest build times I have in a build was this thing, just because I
Oh,
spent a long time texturing it, and shaping it, and getting it to where I was comfortable with how it looked.
man, that's
Um,
awesome, bro. That looks
it's kind
so
of an
nice.
odd looking thing. It's kind of an odd shape. Um,
It's different,
this is
man. It's
one
but
I
it's a
built from.
synthesis of everything you've built. I can see your past
Yeah.
in this. Very
So
cool.
this combines elements of the Agamemnon and the Claymore and
Mhm.
like all these
Mhm.
different ships, so that ideally you get the best of all of those kind of
Mhm.
together. Its maneuverability is somewhere between the Claymore and the Kestrel.
Mhm.
It's very much like the Claymore in that the nose portion of it, up to that
Yep.
XL thruster, is all expendable.
Yep.
Um,
Sharpen the pencil
there's
to right here.
Yep, yep. There's lots of surfaces around if you're clever with where you put them for more
Right. Right.
turrets.
Right.
So you can add weapons. There's a spot right here on the top. You remove that deco piece and you can put a turret there. I mean, there's lots of options.
Right.
Um, Lots of block work and deco and stuff that I put into it to give it that kind of like piratey feel, I
Wow.
guess. But it is set up kind of similar to the Claymore in that it's got the two XLs at the rear, the one in the middle up at the front.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I tried to kind of armor it with these little, I don't know what you'd call them, like fingers or hands or whatever that
Right.
kind of come down
Right.
on each side. Um,
It's just some obstructions for crap to hit before it hits your engine.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this one is heavier on the P deco side than the Claymore for sure.
Mhm.
There were like one or two design decisions I made that did would probably not have been made if I was really, really concerned about super heavy duty combat.
Mhm.
Um, this thing should handle itself just fine. The JTKE test drive did a
Mhm.
run of an early version of it,
Mhm.
and he basically determined he's like, yeah, this thing can handle legacy stuff. So
Cool.
it
Cool.
should be fine for what, you know, most people would want to use it for.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not a quantum ship. It doesn't, you don't need quantums to build it.
Right.
Um,
It's fully extended, and there you go.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's got a SV landing pad on top. Um, it's got
Oh
a
yeah.
HVSV hanger, and actually my challenge build for what was this February
Mhm.
is designed to dock with it.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so if I can,
Oh, you're spawning. It's a spawn.
um,
Oh.
it's a little salvage
Yeah.
miner, and oop, if I can do this right,
Oh wow. Yeah.
so it just kind of sits. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. There. Oh, little forward. Beep. Beep. There you go. A little bit. There. There
Yeah,
you
it's
go.
slightly at an angle for some reason, but on the server at least it docks flat and those
Yeah.
feet just kind of sit there and it works pretty well. I enjoyed that a lot. I've actually got two of them on the server. One of them we left on one of our planet bases and we use
Mhm.
it as a auto miner tender. So you
Nice.
just run around
Yeah.
to the auto miners and refuel them and take out the goodies and it works great for that. It's a fun little ship.
That's
But it,
awesome,
it was
man.
cool because it added the mining and the salvage function that I need
Oh, that's
to
cool.
the
Very cool. Very
to the
cool, brother.
courser.
Man, that's really nice.
Where'd you go?
CV on a CV. I'm looking at the. I'm checking
Oh, the
out.
little guy.
Yeah, I'm checking out the multi-turret. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. So it works pretty well for what it is. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
micro CV.
Yeah.
That's like a size class zero point 0.5 or something.
Yeah. Point. Okay. All right.
0.6.
Nice. Point
Um,
six.
but it has a full 320 harvest system
Mm-hmm.
and a tier 0 shield.
Right.
Um, so it's shielded. It's got 3 mining lasers, little salvage turret on it, so you can kind of mine and salvage with it. And it's light enough that you can carry it. It's like 660 tons or something, so you can carry it easy on the back of your
Yeah.
courser without
Yeah.
noticing it. So that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. So a good little opportunity miner.
Nice.
But yeah,
Yeah, you
that's been
got
my
all
main
the yeah
combo.
yeah you got all the good stuff in there. I gotta look through this ship though, just real quick. I just wanna get a quick inside. Got the med. Oh yeah, dude, I love the colors, man.
Again,
I'm a sucker for that color.
that's which one
That's
were you at?
that where the med tables that you painted.
Oh yeah.
That I love
Again,
that color, man.
that's the pirate palette that I was using
Mhm.
from Decor.
I
That just
love
was
that color.
one of the colors on there. And just everywhere I could, I tried to throw in, walkway blocks and
Mhm.
every kind of goofy little detail to make it look kind of like it was cobbled together at some point.
Right.
Same with the textures. The textures can be a little bit mixed up in some ways. This is your living space, so you got a full 18 grow plots, which is probably excessive for combat CV. But again, I wanted that kind of multi-role mobile-based function on my ship. A couple of fridges. You got the captain's quarters, as you do with all my combat ships here,
where the magic happens.
Yeah, that's right, little captain's suite.
I'll be in my bunk. I believe it's the
lofted bunk there.
Yeah, I'll be in my bunk.
Yep.
That's right.
Nice. Little kitchenette there with the overhang. Come down, you got the bridge. Got to go through a pipe here.
Oh, nice. The pipe. Nice.
And then you've got the bridge. A little bit of LCD. That's the same LCD from the hoplite. And it's got the same kind of deal where if you have the constructor on, it tells you.
Right. Right.
And then there's the little side cockpit over here. Looks like somebody doing something with an LCD on top, that kind of thing.
That LCD work. Did you do that right yourself?
Yeah, these are all mine.
Wow.
Again, same thing with learning how to build ships. I'd go and look at people who had amazing stuff like Solusticor, NMK, J. Randall. You look at the way that they've set up their LCDs, and then you learn the commands and you learn the keystrokes and everything you need to do. And it's just like everything else, practice, and eventually you get to the point where you can make really neat looking stuff with LCDs if you want to put the time into it. It is tedious. I mean, more so than other stuff, but it's worth it. It adds some cool features to something.
Wow.
So that's the battle bridge.
Nice.
Actually, it's the only bridge on this ship.
Right on. Right on.
Come down here. We got the hangar.
Oh, you got to repair.
You got the console,
so you're ready.
Ready. Right, you're repair ready. And then it's a bigger hangar door than I normally would put on a ship, so you can fit a pretty good sized thing in here. I actually built my most recent build that I haven't released yet, which I can show in a minute, is a tank. I don't do a lot of those, but
I love
my faction. We wanted to kind of mix it up and do something fun. So we're each going to make a tank, and then we're going to go to a planet and just mess stuff up and have a good time.
Well, when you're literally pooping SVHV quantums from all the frickin' things you're hunting that have SVHV quantums, the only thing there is to do is build a 9 quantum frickin' tank.
That's right. So we're each going to make a quantum tank, and we're going to go have a good time. But I built the tank, and it does fit in this hangar, and I'm planning on releasing it later this week.
Oh, nice. Now, it will be a quantum tank. It won't be your just maxi.
I think it takes like 3 quantums is all to spawn it, and then it's got room for like 2 more if you want to upgrade all the turrets to tier 2.
I just finished one with 9.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Beastly tank. Very nice.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah. I was just like everything in the kitchen sink. By the end of the season or towards midway through the season, people are going to be trading SV, HV quantums for coffee.
Yeah, seriously.
You'll be like, I mean, you want coffee? You want the high-end coffee? It's two HVSV quantums, please.
There is an excess of those things right now in the economy. I mean, they're going to be dirt cheap. Yeah, just details. So, like, one thing I remember Chumsicle said about the Aggie was he ended up putting generators, because he threw so many turrets on his, he needed an extra set of generators to run them. So he threw them on the ceiling of his hangar. So that's what these boxes are up here for, with these pipes. So if you remove the pipe and the cargo box, that's a 3x1 area. You can stick a large generator in each one of those. So if you throw so much stuff or make so many changes that you need more power, you can throw generators up there.
Yeah, pull the cargo in the pipe and you've got a generator spot.
Yeah, nice. And it kind of looks like a little rack that would hold something like a generator. So that was kind of the idea there.
If you want to hear something really cheesy, Fred Hophead original cheese, that little grate for your advanced repair bay for your tank.
Yes, sir.
When you get done, make sure you add just the right amount of resources when you fix your tank, and then when you're done with it, pull the block out. Reduce the seat, put it in a cargo box, and just put
There
the
you
grate
go.
back on.
There you go.
That's cheesy, but I'm
Hey, it
all about
works.
I'm all about modular placement and putting things down. Yeah.
So, in keeping with the pirate theme, pirates don't
Hmm.
have, OSHA.
Right.
So,
No OSHA.
you have to go outside to go to the next compartment. So, we have this
Oh.
little catwalk.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's
Okay.
actually, this is an EVA hatch here so that you can leave the ship close to your
Yeah.
battle bridge
Yeah.
off the catwalk for stuff in space.
That's
But
cool.
this leads into the middle portion, which is engineering.
Uh huh. Oh, nice.
So this is where you got your main XL thruster right in
Mm-hmm.
front.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look behind you, you got the warp drive up above.
Oh, that's pretty. Nice.
Generators off to the side and batteries of 3 that even though they don't look it, they are armored. And if one battery blows, it won't chain to the others. That
Very
was probably the
cool.
hardest part of this build was making it look haphazard and pirate, but also be safe to use.
Right, right. Oh yeah,
Um,
you got a
and it
block in
took a
there.
lot
Yeah.
of effort, but it is safe, believe it or not. It doesn't look it, but
Mm-hmm.
that's on purpose.
Yeah.
But it is actually I have been using it, and it has been shot many times with the debug gun. Many times, more than
I
any of
mean,
my other builds.
listen, give it time. Vermilion's going to give the Xerax debug guns, so you might as well
Oh,
prepare. You might as well
I
prepare
know.
for it. Okay.
The only so the exact well, the
elite
only thing I will
elite
say,
debug Xerax is coming.
if there is a chance, if you fight so hard that this thruster, which is an XL and has
Uh-huh.
a lot of hit points,
Right,
but if that
21.
does blow, it can take out the warp drive.
Uh-huh.
It won't
Uh-huh.
it won't take out your generators, but it can
Right.
take out your warp drive. And that's
Right.
the only bummer to the way I set this up. But I just love having that thruster exposed, so I'm not gonna change it.
Now, you you you're flying this ship now, or you're just
Yes,
okay? You're flying this ship in the Anvil server. Where
yes, and the
where
other one
where
we
did you
looked at
put?
earlier.
Yeah, where did you put the big old radar dish? The
So
advanced radar.
I've kind of finished using this as my combat ship, and now it's my base. So
Okay.
I put it on that spot on top, just in front of the artillery turrets,
Okay.
um, outside, so it's not
Mhm.
in a protected area.
Okay.
Um, Basically, from what I've been hearing from people, they want those on their mining ships, their salvaging ships, but
Yeah.
they're convenient to have on a combat ship, but they're not essential.
I don't.
Um,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I personally think that any ship you can stick them on, because they make your life way better.
Right.
Um, but for this thing, because I'm just using it as a base and occasionally
Right.
I'll fight with it, but nothing crazy big, I just left it on the outside.
Well, most people are
So
out mining and exploring. They're going to find some ship that pisses them off, and they're going to be like, "You just wait right there. I'll be right
right.
back." And you know where it's going to be, pretty much.
Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, so this is all just again, it's looking like stuff's attached with
Mhm. Mhm.
using the walkways as like girder
Yeah.
railings. There's a little spot up here, a little balcony for
Right.
somebody, a console, and a locker. I mean, just
Yeah.
random haphazard piratey crap.
Right. We'll put
Um,
this here. We'll put this here.
right, you got a little balcony here with kind of like a shutter overhang, so it's like gives you that illusion of almost something like would be outside, but you're in the middle of a ship. So
Mhm.
you have like the shutter overhang, awning,
I
whatever.
missed. I lost you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm down here by the constructor.
Oh. Okay. All right. Oh, it's up here. Okay. There we go. There we
So you
go.
got a constructor, deconstructor,
Right.
so you can do processing of your salvage. It has a harvest controller if
Mhm.
you want to add a salvage turret to it.
Mhm.
It's got a repair station right there. So I mean,
Mhm.
it can be a little mobile base for a person.
Right.
Um,
Well, you
but if you
know,
come down here,
when I've played in a CV, just from my limited experience, I use I use a deconstructor when I run out of cores
mhm,
and I
yeah,
need parts. And it's
yeah,
opportunistic deconstructing to get parts you need for maybe ammo, maybe cores. Because who doesn't play? Okay, who's got the core? Core. Who's got the core, right? Did you
Right.
forget the core this time, or did I forget the core this time? So a deconstructor's really handy to make those parts, you know.
So
So,
same thing. We got
hmm
the OSHA
right,
not
right,
approved
right.
walkway right in front of our
Yeah,
giant thruster,
yeah.
which is behind us there. And this leads into the crew quarters, which is in the expendable part of the ship.
Right,
This
yeah.
is this is where the slaves with jobs,
As
or
they
the
are.
prisoners with jobs. This
Prisoners
is
with
where they
jobs. That's right.
they live in the expendable portion.
Gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
Same as with the Kestrel. I
Mhm,
labeled the cargo boxes, anything that's up here,
mhm,
with nose, so
mhm,
that you know it's in the expendable part of the ship if you're going to tank with it.
mhm,
And same thing, this is all just for RP, deco,
mhm,
looks, um, that kind of stuff, piping and different
mhm.
stuff.
I'm just going to check your containers. Which ones are the ones that you might
So
say bye bye to?
anything that says nose in
Nose. Okay.
parentheses after it,
Okay.
I
I
think
see
is
it.
what I labeled them.
Miscellaneous nose. There we go.
Yeah. And then
So,
there's one 320 cargo bay in the
mhm.
nose as well. I had the space for it, so I just threw it in here. It's labeled as auxiliary nose,
I see
like
it.
auxiliary cargo bay.
Nose cargo.
Um,
Yeah.
so I figure that's where you'd stick your salvage or your loot or whatever
Right.
after you killed something,
Right.
assuming you haven't lost the nose.
Right.
So you're not going to store stuff in there. You're just that's for like temp storage after a fight or something.
Gotcha.
Or if you're
Gotcha.
like me and you're using it as a base, you can store stuff in there because you're not going to be using the crumple zones.
And then, of course, we have the Darkest Warrior Memorial Curved Stairs right
Yes,
here.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good for him.
Always trying to trigger him.
That's right.
Yeah. So just the deco and the general piratey look. Because again, this whole area is expendable. So
Right. Right.
this is all just for RP and for looks and to make it look kind of neat.
Now, just just to give this out to the folks in that are watching Anvil Local Access TV late night, um, the this one right here, you got some news about. Is this the one?
Which one? Where are you at?
The one that you were telling
Oh,
me
we're
some
touring?
news. Yeah.
Okay, so this
Am
one
I ahead of
I
myself? If I'm ahead of
no,
myself,
you're
shut me up.
we're heading that way.
Okay.
So this one I've been trying. So I've been playing with the idea for a long time of doing some like POI kind of stuff because I know that at some point a lot of builders have done that, and it's always kind of interested me. So I have made an OPV conversion of this ship for the pirates, the pirate faction. We're still a work in progress, but hopefully I'll submit that to Elion soon for their consideration to maybe add that as an OPV. Um, so that's why I say I have gone back into vanilla and done a little bit of work lately in vanilla because
Mhm.
that's where you need to make the
Mhm.
patrol vessels
Mhm.
for the base game, and then they'll get
Mhm.
reforged version later. Um, so yeah, I have been working on that, and you know, Escarly and Salustacor and Vermilion have let me kind of like bug them a little bit more than I probably should, pester them for advice and help on things because that's like a new path of building I haven't really
Mhm.
messed with much yet. So they've been
Mhm.
really helpful. Um, so yeah, some version of this I will be submitting hopefully soon to see
Mhm.
about maybe getting it added. I think it'd be a
Nice.
cool patrol vessel. The pirates right now have pretty lightweight stuff, mostly Corvettes, and so
Mhm.
it'd be kind of cool to have something like this where you've got a little bit more of a challenge, a little bit beefier target.
And the
Um,
pirates shouldn't ought to be such the pussies, right? They need a
they
I mean,
well,
come
my
on,
whole theory,
.
right? So think back
Everything
to
about
pirate
pirates
times.
blows up like in a sec,
That's
come
That's
on.
right. You think back to old time pirates, they had stuff like the Queen Anne's Revenge, which is like a ship of the line or a galleon or whatever
Oh
that for
yeah,
taking out.
man.
So like if they're going to be pirating Xerax or Polaris they need some good heavy duty battleship kind
They're
of
not
things.
flying around in inner tubes
Right.
with handkerchiefs for masts and
So
sails.
I
I mean,
thought,
they're
give them another level, like a frigate or something. I think this would be somewhere between like a Periat frigate and a
uh-huh.
destroyer, maybe. Not super hard to fight, but something that's a little bit higher on the challenge than a Corvette.
And I'm going to salvage it right now so that I can let you guys know exactly when you kick the shit out of it what you're going to get,
Well,
minus what you
and
blow up.
I've made a lot of changes on the OPV one, so
Okay. All
it has
right.
more turrets and it has different loot, so it's set
Nice.
up a little differently.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
and then yeah, did you want me to
Yeah.
spawn in the other one that we were talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. That's the big news. You heard it here first. Local access late night Anvil television.
Now this is a work in progress early version, so it'll look a lot different if it gets added. But this is the other
Oh.
thing I've been working on.
Oh. Oh, I don't want to show all the spawners.
Oh, and for some reason it's not powering up or it's not glowing or something on the. I don't know. That's weird.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's because it's got an NPC core. I bet you that's what's going on.
You want to
That's
pop
why
it
it
out and
doesn't.
put here, I'll turn my back if you want to pop it out and put a core in real quick.
Yeah, let's see if that'll work.
Yeah.
Um,
What's
at
up,
least you can
Chum
see it.
Sickle?
Where's the?
How you doing, my man? You
See if that'll
dreadnought
work.
nightmare, you.
Hmm.
When I kill Xerax at POIs, I check their pockets, and in their pockets are little pieces of paper that say, I hate Chumsicle. You're making a difference, sir. Salute to you. Wish you'd talk to me sometime. Damn. I know you don't have a microphone. Your headset's broken. Your dog
Well,
chewed
that's a
it. I
bummer.
know.
It doesn't, for some
It
reason, I
won't?
think it's because we're on the creative server. It won't show you the
Okay.
glowiness. But this is
Okay.
this is
All right.
a legacy patrol vessel that I made. Um, and then I sent it to Vermilion to see what he thought of it,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of took it and made an even more awesome version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he just posted in the Discord that he's working on it, and it sounds like he's thinking about putting it in the game. So possibly next update we could have more legacy stuff to hunt, which would be kind of cool.
So
Um,
kick that into gear, guys. Filbert has built something that Vermilion has taken and is going to possibly throw in the game. It's not super hard definite, but I tell you, Vermilion didn't modify it and do his little magic on it to then throw it the hell away. So it sounds to me like this is big fucking hype for Anvil. This is a big
and
deal.
I think it does look better when it's all glowy, so it's
Right,
kind of
I
a
understand.
kind of a
I
bummer that
understand.
it's just sitting here like this. But
I understand,
there
buddy.
is a picture of it and Vermilion's bigger version on the Discord if you want to see the actual picture of it.
Please, guys, if you want to go to the Discord, of course, yes, definitely. Take a look at
And
that.
yeah,
Dude,
I won't take you on the tour inside and spoil it because
no,
there's
no, no.
this is
I'm
a
not
little
going
different
inside.
from the
No, sir, I wouldn't do
current
that. I wouldn't do that.
legacy stuff. This one's got some
I'm kind of
surprises.
staying away. Just I'm just taking long shots of it because I don't want
So
to.
if they do get added, I would recommend don't spoil it for yourself. Go and
Mm-mm.
hunt one down and see for yourself what it's like. Because
Yeah,
I think it'll be fun. I didn't want to I'm not looking to punish anybody or anything like that. I'm looking
please
for fun
don't.
stuff, and so
Please, yeah,
I think
be
this one if you it's worth the effort, and I think it'll be a fun
please
challenge.
be that
And
builder that doesn't
Vermilion
want
took
to
it,
just
and
kill us. Yeah,
his looks amazing. Like I love what he did to it. So
cool.
I think there'll be some cool new stuff for people to shoot.
Clamwhammer says, "Punish me, Filbert. Punish me." I think he's pulled his shirt down, so I think
Yeah.
he's ready. I think he's ready.
So
That's very
I've
cool,
slowed
dude.
down a bit of late publishing stuff to the workshop because I've been spending about half of my time working on
Mhm.
OPV type stuff. And I have a
Mhm.
few more ideas. One more patrol vessel idea I can think of, and then I have an idea for one or two POIs that I want to make for like planetary stuff.
Mhm.
Um, So I'm going to be spending a bit of my time doing that and seeing if I can get if there's interest in some more stuff. Because to me, I love having things to do in the game and more stuff to go and break
Right.
down and shoot at and whatever. That's just more fun for people. So that's kind
Yeah.
of what I'm hoping to spend my time on. Because I know it's fun to build stuff to use yourself, but it's also fun to build stuff that everybody gets a chance to kind of like beat up on and explore and all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what
Wow.
I've been up to. Oh, and then
Wow.
one more little thing I wanted to
Your
show you
tank?
the tank. Yeah, I'll show that
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah. Let's see what your. It's only 3 quantums. You're gonna have to try harder, you know.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a little
It's
guy. It's got to fit
okay.
inside of
All right.
the, the,
Okay.
the,
Well, I'll forgive
the
you for that.
courser.
All right.
I'm gonna actually take it out here where there's no gravity.
I'm trying to
All right.
get away from that shit. Okay, let's get over there. There we. Oh yeah.
So that's my little pirate tank, the Arse
Nice. The
tank,
arse tank. Yeah.
named because Darkest was watching me build it and he thought it looked like a butt. So
Really?
when at one point the top here where it's got the crack down the middle
Uh-huh.
and the cheeks, he thought that looked like a butt and thought it was hilarious. So it's named the Arse tank now
Okay. All right.
for
Nice.
posterity. Um, yeah, it's just a little quantum tank. It's
Right
got the
on.
tier 2 artillery turret on it. Um,
Yeah.
it's my
It's
first time
fun.
playing with that on an HV.
I
Has the
tested it against
same.
some. I tested it against. I tested the artillery against a drone base and 2 bastions, and it when the shield's down, that artillery turret does not
Oh,
disappoint. It does
I
not
love the
disappoint.
thing. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's got almost, or I think about the same damage as a standard CV artillery
Oh
turret.
yeah. Oh,
I
it's
mean, it's beastly.
ridiculous,
So
dude. It's
that's the
ridiculous.
only tier 2 turret on it,
Yeah.
stock, but it's
Yeah.
got room to add more.
Okay.
Um, and I did the same thing. I took out a drone base with it. That's the only
Mhm.
thing I've tested on so far.
Mhm. Try
Um,
Bastion. Try Bastion.
oh gosh,
Give Bastion a go.
I'd
Yeah.
probably get destroyed, but
Well, there's one
um,
there's one drone turret you'd like to try. It's the one that has upper tier turrets. If you
okay.
want to really give your tank the Pepsi challenge, there's the drone base. It literally has 15 turrets and some of like half of them are upgraded. That's
Jeez,
yeah. I'm just saying
that's a
if you
challenge.
guys out there yeah if you guys are out there building tanks, quantum tanks, you know you've hunted your drones and you want to really give your tank the Pepsi challenge, find that one drone base that gave me a fit for 8 hours, and all I know is it's rectangle, it's deep, and
Well,
oh
you kind
god,
of scarred me for life on that one on this game
oh.
because after hearing about that experience and then watching, I tuned into the end of that stream
Right,
and
man.
I was so terrified of like running a drone base now, thinking it would be the same one you
No,
did.
no,
That when I
this
attacked my drone
yeah.
base, I used my artillery turret to like grind the thing into a pulp before I got out of my tank and like actually ran it. So like
Oh,
half the interior was destroyed by the
oh
artillery.
no, this drone base, and I know Pumas has attacked it. It's like the dang, it's the mother of all drone bases. It's really, I did it in season 1 with Debon, and raised me up. We did it season 1. It was not the grinder that it is now. It is elite plasma Xerax, and they spawn over and over. So. Oh, that's nice. Oh, there we go. Let's see what's. Oh, that is cool. Very nice.
So pretty basic on the interior.
Mm-hmm.
You got a shutter door here so you can upgrade your shield.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I didn't realize. So for some reason, when I built this, I couldn't find the heavy shield generator in my
You know what I
creative
had to do?
inventory.
You know what I had to do? This is what I've been doing to bring mine in.
You copy
In
paste
cre
it.
in creative, I put all of the parts to upgrade it and upgrade it in creative.
Oh,
You upgrade it in creative and then you can bring it in with parts.
see, okay, that makes more sense. So
So
I,
just
I left the 2 slots for the quantums,
yeah. Yeah.
and then it's all under a shutter, so you can upgrade it.
So next time you build one, like I said, you put the regular thing shield in, put all the parts, and do your upgrade thing on the multi tool, and you got the upgraded, and it'll work. but I don't know why it's not in the parts pick. But
But this is
it worked for
probably the
me.
thing I have the least amount of experience building is HVs.
Yeah,
I've done
yeah.
a few random ones for different things, but it's always kind of a new experience when I build one because it's just not my thing. I'm more of a CV and base guy.
Well, we've talked about this earlier, but until this tank can thrust up and go into orbit, you're really just doing it wrong.
I'm just an amateur at this
I'm
point.
just I'm
I got
just
no idea
you
what I'm doing.
yeah,
Until I can launch it into space, then I'll be a pro.
I'm gonna post a video on Reddit where I launch my HV into atmosphere and write a long braggy thing about it, and then be like, if you're not doing this, then you're just not doing it right. Yeah,
Yeah, if you
exactly.
can't orbit your HV on its
Yeah, if
own,
you can't,
just
yeah,
give up.
yeah. If you
Just stop playing.
I don't know why it does it, but it did. But anyways,
Very cool. So yeah,
very
so that's my
cool.
tank. So we're
That's
just
cool,
getting ready
man.
for some tank shenanigans, and I'll be
Yeah,
testing that out this week.
man, I love tanks, but I I've last season I accumulated so much. And
Hmm.
right now I've decided that if I'm bringing something in, I need to salvage something out. You know?
Right.
And the thing that bothers me is, well, here's the thing. I haven't tried tanks this season. And with the upgraded turrets, it sounds like tanks are going to be a viable thing. I doubt
Well,
you could put
I,
many upgraded
I
turrets on a maximized extended HV, but
and this is part of what we're up to is we want to see what tanks can do now because
mhm
we've heard so many bad things about tanks in 1.4 with the explosions and stuff
mhm.
that we're at the point of the server where we're like, well, we've done kind of what we want to do, so let's go have some fun and just goof off. And
Well,
so this is what we're going to be up to.
if I could challenge you with this,
Hmm.
I would like to see, and I would like to challenge the people out there. Can you build a maximum extended HV tank that will take on the mother of all drone bases? Because not everybody's going to be on a server swimming with HVSV quantums. Some people's
Right.
going to be out there playing the single player game. So you guys that are building these tanks, think about the little guy too. Because you guys are going to, if you guys build these tanks and they're going to need 6 HVSV quantums, and we're trying to bring new Empyrion folks in, new people that are interested in the game, you really should focus on max. That's XCal does this, maximum extensions.
Hmm.
Let's see. I really want to see what a maximum extension HV tank does against some of these tougher bases. Maybe it's two people using a maximum. Like I went out with my buddy Matt CZ, raised me up. They had tanks. I told them these drone bases were tough. They took their tanks, they beat the shit out of the drone bases. They were high-fiving each other. I'm like, you got 9 quantum tanks, guys. You got freaking 9 quantum tanks.
Well,
This
and
isn't your
that's what
average Joe. Your average
that's what
Joe's
we're
not going to
looking to
maybe
do
get
is
that.
just
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it, right? So
yeah,
I know there are some people who try to like, what can I do? I want to beat everything by myself, and
right.
they have. And it's like there's some stuff that I think is just better with a group. I
Oh, it
mean,
is. It
there's
is.
probably a way you can beat everything by
Yeah.
yourself, but then you're by yourself, man. Like,
But
go get a buddy.
even if you built a maximum extended tank, put it on the workshop and said, "Look, you take 3 of these, you got the toughest, you can kill the toughest drone base
Right.
out there." And I'm cool with
But
that too. I'm not saying it's got to be an HV tank that's going to take the toughest drone base out there by itself and you smoke a big cigar and walk away with sunglasses on.
right.
If you had 2 or 3 max extended, but these quantum tanks, I mean, of course they're going to be terrors. you're going
Right.
to you're going to
We're,
kick it.
we're looking to have a good time.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot, dude. And you've tested on a drone, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to have a good time. I just hope
So
you run into the
I
mother of
figured
all
that
drones.
a group of them can handle themselves, but I think that's kind of the way because of the
Well,
worry of explodiness. That's kind of the way that the best approach probably for tanks right now is a group assault.
well, uh,
Um,
well, my
so that the
challenge to
fire is
you
divided up.
is to take your tanks against the mother of all drone bases if you can find one on the server. I want to be there to film that because I actually managed to get the shield shot down with my CV and then get away with only a few holes blasted in the side.
Dang.
Yeah, yeah, and I was drinking a little, so whatever. You know.
So you were having a good time.
I was a little full of myself. I was thinking Leslie Ann was quite a tough girl at that moment. But okay, well, so I guess this is it. I guess we're done. We had a
Yeah,
hell
I
of a
mean,
good
I think
discussion.
that's a
Does
good coverage of
does
stuff I've made. I mean,
I just want to throw it out there. Does anybody have any questions? I just want to throw it out to the chat. If anybody has any questions related to what Filbert is talking about, uh, go ahead and type something out. While you guys are thinking of a question, I do want to let you guys know that we are playing on the Anvil server. It is the best Empyrion server out there. Uh, you know, uh, you guys, I hear whitelisting may be back open now, so you guys want to we are an active social experience. If you come in, you're going to be interacting with people. If you don't interact with people, you're probably not going to get invited. We are a social atmosphere. So please understand that. Uh, People like to talk. We've got a very active Discord. We got people popping in and out all the time. So just want to give a shout out to Anvil Server, and I also want to give a shout out to all the builders that are out there. All you builders. I don't care if you've built a few things or a lot of things. If you want to talk to me about your builds, I want to listen. I want it to be a forum so you can come and talk about what you got. Don't be shy. We want to hear what you got. We want to hear where you get your inspiration from. And I want to film it. I want to put it on YouTube. And I want to have you and me talking to you up on YouTube talking about builds so people can kind of hear where people are coming from with their builds. So, anyways, Matt's wanting to know when this tank release date is. Matt CZ.
okay. So I have kind of a embarrassing confession. I'm terrible at paint and Photoshop and stuff for the blueprint picture. So I've actually started employing my wife to make them because she has graphic designer experience. So if I can convince her to make me a blueprint pick for the tank, it'll probably be up on like Thursday or Friday. Um, so that'd be all I'm really waiting on, and then I'd like to test it just a little bit more to see, make sure it's got no big flaws. But yeah, hopefully the end of the week I'll throw it up.
Cool. Cool. Chumskull wants to know basically, question number one, Phil, you agree that Chum is the sexiest player on Anvil server? Would that be something you could get
I
behind?
mean,
Can you get behind him as the sexiest player on the Anvil
I
server?
can't dispute that.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm not gonna sit here and refute that. So I'll let
Gotcha.
that go.
And question and part two of that statement, how does it feel having to play in his shadow? Wow.
I
Yeah.
got a lot of room to stretch my
Yeah.
legs in his shadow.
That's what I hear.
It's
Yeah.
yes, it's a
It's
large
a
shadow.
big shadow. I hear it's a round
Um,
shadow. Yeah. and
littered with the remnants of everything that he's destroyed. Um,
how's the dermal burn healing from Darkest Warrior?
it never does.
It never. Yeah.
Right when you think it's healed, he gives you another one.
The scab falls off, and there it's
It's the
painful again.
the secret handshake of the LNC faction is the darkest dermal burn. Um, you can't really be a member of our faction until you've been shot in the face a few times.
There
So,
you go. There you go. All right. Well, listen, Filbert, man, thanks so much for coming and talking about your builds. We have,
oh,
it's like, it's 9:30. We have been going great guns, dude. We got
oh man,
killer content. And dude, thank your wife for letting me have this much time with you. I know you probably got two or three things I'm going to let you go. You
Yeah,
guys,
it's
you
awesome.
know,
It's a great time just chatting with you,
yeah.
Fred, and just
All
talking
right.
about building space Legos. Always a good time.
Space Legos is cool, guys. Listen, any of you builders, give me a shout. Contact me. I'd love to talk with you guys about your builds, okay? All right. I'm going to log out. I'm going to raid somebody, give somebody some good times here. Let's see here. Let's get to the twitchy goodness. Let's see here. Do, 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 do. We're going to slam RT Buko with some raid action, guys. You tell RT I gotta go eat. So I'm gonna do some RT Buko raid. He is a cool dude. He's lucky, man. He plays the game with his wife. I wish I could get my wife involved in Empyrion. Alright.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
It's not gonna ever happen
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, same.
Yeah, nah. My wife's like, oh,
Yeah,
you
same.
named your ship after me. That's great. See you guys. Alright. See you guys. Boom. Oh, that went so good, dude.
Well, I'm glad I don't
Dude,
really
that
know
went
what you
real.
wanted to talk about, but hopefully we covered everything.